Vellner's already
Physically.
got his pants off, so
I'm
Hell yeah.
convinced that Velnir streams without pants, at least half the time.
No, that's probably true. You
He
have to at least, right? At least once you have to do that.
Yeah, he hasn't admitted it yet, but, okay, you guys ready to get this started?
we can disprove that allegation right now. We see him get up to feed Dandy.
Mm, I need more evidence than that. I need in-person,
Yeah.
Comfort is king.
face-to-face evidence.
And
Alright, let's go ahead and get right into it. You guys good?
Yeah, you're set up. You got
Alright,
your goose right
perfect.
in front.
Welcome in everybody to episode 9. Can you believe that we've done fucking 9 episodes of this shit and people still listen to it?
yeah, it's crazy.
That's weird. I can't believe
Well,
it.
oh Jesus Christ. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Every time somebody's like, "Yeah, I listened to your podcast for 3 hours," I'm like, "Damn, that really sucks." But anyway, we're back with more. We're gonna yap for another 2 or 3 hours today. Today we're gonna be discussing quality of life. We had to take a week off because of my schedule. I'm the one that messed everything up last week. I went
Mhm.
to the zoo, and it was amazing because there were no children at the zoo, so it was an adults only zoo day, and we got to carry around liquor wherever we wanted and look at animals, and everybody was really nice because there was no kids there. It was great. It was a good time. How have you guys
That
been?
sounds exactly like what I did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we love no kids days.
We love animals.
Yeah. Dex, how's your week been?
Chill. How's my 2 weeks been?
Yeah,
Right.
your 2 weeks, yeah.
I saw movies.
Mhm.
Superman and the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
They were okay. Not
Mhm.
excited, but
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
than that, it's been big chilling. Trying to do Limbus, not enjoying it, and having multiple issues with my static. But
Mm. I've been enjoying
Uh-oh,
not doing
static
Limbus.
issues.
it's just
Can you go
attendance.
into the static drama? Can you tell me?
Attendance.
Mhm.
Every other day, someone has been last minute banging
I
in.
feel so sorry for you, Dex. My bad, man.
It's just
Damn.
like I find out at work, and then I spend an hour at work like DMing people while I'm
Mhm.
trying to get work done. Like, please, please fill in. I beg of you.
You thought about
Bro,
quitting your job and just doing full-time static
Oh, I
Just
management?
doing
have.
being a
I have.
full-time static leader?
Yeah. There's gotta be money in that, right?
I mean, look,
yeah,
like I think if you were doing like 9 boss runs,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And you went to 5 people that really wanted to run sortie, do 9 boss every day, be like, "Look, I mean, like, I have to quit my job to do this.
Mhm.
So what I need is each of you to put up like $50 per run." I don't think that's unreasonable.
Is
Well,
$50 a
the
run
truth
gonna get you through?
I mean,
it's
maybe.
almost there, right?
Okay.
But then the truth is we make so much gil from all the boxes we get that I
Mhm.
could use that gil to
Yeah,
fund
there you
my
go.
car.
Yeah,
Ooh.
start that Dex is gonna start selling Bill. You guys heard it here first. Everybody start spam reporting Dex.
I still think, this is a controversial take, perhaps.
Mhm,
I don't know
mhm,
what the general like opinion is on this,
mhm.
but I think that one of the best systems for curtailing gil like RMT in an MMO is World of Warcraft's WoW token.
I don't
And
know
I
what that
wish
is.
Square Enix did something.
I've never played WoW. Can you explain to
So
me what that
yeah,
is?
Basic
go into
Yeah, basically like you can buy for basically the same cost as a sub, like $15 a month or whatever.
Mhm.
For $15 you can buy a token that you can then sell on the auction house.
Oh,
so
Um
you can buy
so
money from the main game creator.
yeah, so like you sell that token and um you get gil and the other person gets game time,
mhm.
right? So like you're basically
Oh.
exchanging subscription fees for
For
RMT,
currency, yeah.
which can or for exchanging subscription fees for real life money that can be
Mhm.
exchanged for in-game money.
So people who are rich never have to pay to sub again, but
Yeah.
the price can fluctuate based on market demand.
if Final Fantasy had something like that, it would motivate me to actually farm Gil again, because then I wouldn't have to spend real money.
I feel like the price
But
would just be
Yeah.
guilt cap at all times.
It'd just be cap gilf. I don't know. I think it'd probably
I
be
can see it being
like 200 million or
million.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Hey, how's your week been, buddy? What have you been up to?
I don't know. I
Okay.
can't remember. Everything's a
Oh,
blur.
Mhm.
did you just
Everything's a
wake up?
blur.
Mhm.
No, I mean, the one good thing this is actually, wait, strangely, I just realized this. Ever since we stopped doing the podcast,
Yeah.
I've been working out every day.
Oh, so what you're saying is we need to just stop the podcast
My
permanently
dude is
for
shredded now.
Hegmo's health.
Yeah, so I've been back on the workout train.
Mhm.
That feels pretty good.
Great.
Busy with work, doing sortie every day, and avoiding Limbus at all costs. The usual.
Good. Shiraj, how are you, buddy? You're still in the States, right?
Yes, sir. I've got 6 more weeks here in the States.
Oh, wow. And how are you enjoying
Yeah.
it so far?
Honestly, the weather's confusing me. I thought British weather was bad, but yes,
Mhm.
you know. Um, but it's good, you know. It's good. Had a nice 2 weeks off. Haven't played Final Fantasy for a while, so just some relax. Something that is
Yeah.
unheard of for a Final Fantasy 11 player, you
You're
know.
just playing other
Mhm.
games,
So
you
really,
traitor.
Hegmo is the only one that's been playing a lot in a lot of
Yes.
different decks.
Mhm.
Interesting, because I haven't played at all this week.
What?
And yeah, it's I was really busy with work this week. I had basically an 8-hour shift at work, and then I'd go do an 8-hour shift for my school work study, and it was pretty miserable. So I
That's unfortunate, my dude.
yeah, that's okay. We're all done with it. Hell week is over. It's time to relax a little bit. And yeah, you guys want to get into the emails? We have 2 emails today that we have to go over because we neglected our responsibilities last weekend.
Well,
Mm.
obviously, we get 1 email a week. That's just how
Right,
it goes.
right. It is. Speaking of which, if you guys want to email us, have any questions, want to have us discuss something on the podcast, give us a shout out at blurredxi@gmail.com. We will go over it. Dex, do you have the emails?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. You want to go over the Empyrean one first from Cosmos?
Sure. Well, it's not. Isn't that the other email?
Whichever one you have. Go.
Because Cosmos sent us
Oh, Oppo sent the Empyrean one.
Oro, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oro says, "Hello. Been a fan of the show for a bit now. I've been kind of establishing myself for mid-endgame activities for a bit now on a smaller server, when one of our Link Shell's stronger multi-boxers offered to take in anyone that wanted a Sandy Wave 3 clear. I ended up going and getting carried through. It's been a few months now, and I have the wallet that I can consider making an Empyrean and augmenting it that with that clear. However, none of my current jobs really get much from an Empyrean, or it's already made without needing an augment, such as Bard, Corsair, or Warrior. I'm considering picking up a job for this, and I've been doing a lot of research and have narrowed it down to Khalidbolg, Masamune, or Twash. All three of the big jobs, all three of the big jobs, each weapon appeal to. eq- uh, ugh. All three of the big jobs, each weapon appeal to me equally. That was like a string I couldn't read for some reason.
It's like,
But for different reasons, you can't use the play what I want. But as soon as I tell myself I'm looking in on one, I have some counter argument and ultimately prevents me from pulling the trigger on it. For example, how much would I actually use the Khalid Bolg on Dark Knight when there are good chances I'll have to play solo? Isn't Impu Gandring just better outside their different skill chain properties? Do people even bring Samurai to stuff? And isn't it one of those not as great solo jobs? I've got plenty more, but this email is already long enough. I was wondering if anyone on the podcast had any opinions on this dilemma or assumptions that I'm just flat wrong on. Thank you."
all right. Who wants
We
to
should
kick
do a
us
whole
off?
segment every week that's just like somebody asking which Rima they should make.
I think so
That's
too.
really kind of what it's
Yeah.
boiling down to.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But that's great. It's a
I
common question, and I think that like there's a lot to debate.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, it's our fault because we haven't made the ultimate scientifically tested and proven
Oh, true.
tier lists for the other Rimas. We've only done Prime, so maybe if we get
Yeah.
off our asses, we won't have this problem.
Mhm.
We've done just what's mattered and nothing else.
So out of the three, we're talking about Twashtar, Masamune, and Khaled Bulk, right? Oro wants to decide which one is probably going to get the most bang for
Well,
their buck.
basically, they got the wave 3 clear, and they're like, "I
Mhm.
have all this money burning a hole in
Yeah.
my pocket, and I need to make an Empyrean right now and R15 it immediately."
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
So, which out of the three, if we were just like you have all three of those jobs, you have Thief and Dancer for Twashtar, maybe even he said he has Bard as well,
It
and
was
then
Bard
Dark Knight
for
and
Warrior,
Samurai.
but
Yeah, then
I
Dark
think he wants
Knight.
to make the job to do it.
Mhm. So, out of those three, which would you guys pick and why?
I think I have two answers to this question because I think that at the core of the question of what weapon should I make, and I know he addressed this a little bit in his question. I say the best weapon that you can make is the one that you will have the most use of
Mhm,
because you enjoy using it or because you enjoy the job or anything like that. Like, if you love Dragoon, even if the spear isn't the best Empyrean, I would recommend you make the spear before you make anything else because it's the job that you'll play. Like I've made Empyreans for jobs that I don't play and they just literally sit in my wardrobe taking up space because I
Looking at
never.
you, Almace.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's the first answer. And to a degree, it's like even if you have there's so many things that you can spend gil on. So I'm circling the question a little bit, and then I'll provide my answer based on the actual question. There's so many things to spend gil on. Even if you can augment something, if you have no intention of playing Samurai, Dark Knight, or Thief or Dancer, I guess just there's just no reason to rush it. Just wait until you have the passion or drive to do it, and that decision will make itself for you. Um, I would say if I had to pick one of those three, and I wanted to start playing a job because of it, I would probably go with the Great Katana.
Really? Why the Great Katana?
I think mostly just because I think that it's an exceptionally good weapon for samurai. And in the when you look at all the weapons for all those jobs that could use each of those weapons, like I think the Kalidbolg meta, and I'll probably get flamed for this. I think the Kalidbolg meta has fallen off significantly
Mhm,
since 5 years ago or so. With other options just kind of edging it out a lot of the ways, especially if you're aspiring to get a prime weapon or something like that. Um, I think the Kallenborg isn't quite the star it used to be. And
mhm.
then I don't know. I've heard of a lot of people making Twashtar, and I very rarely see people using Twashtar and performing exceptionally well. You know what I mean? And that's just anecdotal.
Mhm,
I would agree with that. I mean, my my thought process on it is like, how does the other options weigh up against it? So, like, if you're making a Masamune, do you have a Doji? Then maybe you want to consider one or the other because Doji doesn't always beat Masamune, but in some situations it can, and because of that, it's close enough that it's kind of a dice roll. I think Masamune ultimately is the best choice, in my opinion, of the three, but it
mhm,
does depend on what you play, obviously. Um, I do agree with Hagmo in that I think the Kalidbolg superiority meta that everyone claimed was a little overblown. I think Liberator's even like up there or
Oh yeah.
better on Dark Knight. Like it's really, really good and always slept on.
yeah.
And you don't even need to have a prime weapon. But the prime weapon obviously like blows it out of the water.
Mhm,
Twashtar, I've always like as someone who hasn't had Twashtar and just used Aeneas, it's very, very close. You don't
Mhm.
need to stress the Twashtar. I'm a little confused by the email in a sense because they're saying they got it carried for wave 3, but they mention the topics of discussion referencing prime weapons like Impug Andrang. So I'm not sure what they have access to and what they don't have access to.
Mhm. Okay.
If you have access to primes, I would say, as a rule of thumb, most primes are typically slightly better Empyreans, just slightly, just as like a broad description.
Mhm.
So if you have access to the prime, maybe you don't need to make that Empyrean weapon.
Mm. Shirash, you have any thoughts on this one?
They did mention that they would be mostly playing solo, right?
Yes. Well,
So
yeah.
I would say, isn't Dark Knight a better solo than Samurai because of Drain 3?
Wouldn't
But then
Dancer
you'd
be a better
use
soloer than
Apocalypse.
both of them?
Sorry?
Wouldn't Dancer be a better soloer than both of them?
Yeah, I was
True.
just weighing it up. But yeah, I don't think
They didn't
Twash
say
will be
solo, but they've been doing mid-end game activities.
Mhm.
okay. Okay.
So it's kind of
I
like
think
I know that okay, I'll let Shiraj finish, then I'll throw in my rebuttal to stir the pot.
ooh,
um to to quicken it up, I would probably have to go Masamune.
Hmm.
Mm.
Interesting.
are we ganging up on Myth? Does he have like a
Uh,
completely
yeah, I mean, you're all three wrong, and that's okay. It's it's not even like a personal thing. It's not like my preference. It's just you're just completely wrong.
Oh,
So the reason that Twashtar is the best is not because Masamune and Cloudbolt are necessarily bad. It's because out of the three, if you have a stage 5 prime, you will still have use cases for Twashtar. If you have every single thing you can get for Thief and Dancer, Twashtar has the most longevity of the three
Mm.
weapons. Masamune suffers from the exact same thing that Cloudbolt does, where if you have a Kusanagi, how often
you
are you going to
shelled
be
it.
using? Yeah, yeah. So the second you get a prime stage 4, you're not going to be using a Masamune really. And if you do want to do something like the use case for Masamune would be like light skill chaining, which you can then use for doji, or you can use a doji for and do just as effectively.
If you're a
Yeah.
Dark Knight that does not make the prime weapon, but you do something else such as Liberator,
Mhm.
you would switch to the Calibil for light. But I
Yeah,
do kind of agree with that assessment. The caveat to that is, are they going to be doing that end game anytime soon?
yeah, that's fair. So I guess it
I think
really
that
comes
there's
down
always
to
like
the timeline. Go ahead, Hegman.
yeah, I think there's always a case for like mid-step stuff and like, if I get your argument in that Twashtar is gonna not become just like a trinket at some point or like a lock style at some point. But at the same time, like, I don't know, if you're starting up and you're playing right now and you're not doing sortie yet, you don't have any aspirations of getting into a sortie group quite yet. That's potentially like 3, 5, 6, whatever months away for you. Then, definitely like I wouldn't like wait and not make a weapon
Yeah,
because
Mhm.
someday later it'll be less useful.
that's kind of my thought
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know, I will say too that if we're talking to like mid end game where you're in maybe Omen or Dynamis Divergence, there's still some of your like highest progression opportunities, even doing like early Odyssey and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I would say Samurai is actually an extremely good job for that. Just because of its ability to, how fast it generates TP, how self-sufficient it is in doing skill chains and stuff like that.
Mhm.
If you're doing like 3-man with trusts, it can be a really, really good job to play if you know how to play it right.
So the last thing I'll say about Sam is just that if you are playing with a group, Shining One's probably going to do better than Masamune most of the time.
Mm.
Outside of like segments where they're resisting piercing or something, Shining One super super strong.
that is definitely slept on.
The samurai I used to play with in sortie 2 years ago would always say, joke about how Dragoon is the second best spear job because samurai is just so good with Shining One.
Yeah, It's amazing. Like even now I use Kusanagi and Shining One. Those are like the two main weapons that I use on Sam.
So I'd say in summary, the response is go with your heart. Make
Yeah.
something that you would enjoy
Mhm.
first and foremost. Um, I think you'll get the most mileage out of either Twashtar or Masamune. If you intend to play long term, then the Twashtar will still be in your belt.
Yeah, so what I got from that conversation is that Myth is right, and
uh,
yeah,
I have
let's move on.
just a quick, just a really quick follow up. I know that we're spending a lot of time on this, but there was like discussion going around probably 3 to 6 months ago where
Mhm,
people were saying like Calibolg versus Phonaria. Calibolg is
mhm,
actually
mhm.
situationally just as good, if not better, sometimes.
Sure.
What does anybody have a thought on that? Is that like, because we hear a
They're
lot of noise
wrong
on
and
different
stupid.
things. They're wrong. Okay, cool. Got
I think the
it.
the thing that makes Fenaria special isn't the damage, it's the utility of it,
Yeah.
right?
Well, even damage wise, I believe
Oh yeah, it's so great damage wise, for
Lunaria
sure.
will output more damage raw than Calibolg.
Mhm,
I guess it will miss the same amount.
mhm,
Anecdotally, those single hits always miss when you don't want them to, and you feel like you always miss the damn thing, right? But you do more damage. You do slightly less white hit because of the way Empyrean versus
Right.
Prime works, but that's assuming you're keeping the aftermath up,
mhm.
and it's not quite hard. But the Fonario offers you the utility of like superb survivability and maximum MP usage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people that use Fonaria um don't abuse the MP enough in like typical gamer sense. Like some might be out there breaking the meta in a way, but not enough people are just spamming impact with a cult of human set and getting full
Mm,
TP and then origining back the MP.
true.
Yeah, that'd be
I think
interesting.
that's really
Cool.
strong.
Dark Knight has the highest native occult acumen, doesn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our next email. This one's from Cosmos. This one
Yes.
is about the TVR rings. Dex, do you wanna do that
In your
one?
brain, you kinda, like, blurred the 2 because you talked
Yeah,
about Dancer in this one.
yeah. I got tired. Sorry, I was very tired this
This
week.
one is, from Cosmos again. He's emailed us before, and this topic is more about Voracious Resurgence Ring. So he says, "Hey, how's it going? I'm working on completing the Voracious Resurgence. Congratulations. And I'm unsure about which ring to choose. My main jobs are Ninja, Dancer, and I'm working on Dragoon again. I'm currently using Kikoku, but I may get Heishi or Trishula soon, which may change my ring choice. For Dancer, I am mainly using Aeneas. At the moment, I think I'm stuck between Cornelia's ring for weapon skills or Leko's ring for just an all-around great TP ring and weapon skills. Fix Blick's ring, I was thinking about as well, but I'm not sure if it's worth it since I already have a Jerry ring and a Pona's ring, unless it's for Dragoon possibly. Ephraim's, I most likely would not choose due to
Mm,
mostly playing solo, occasionally low man content.
mm.
What is your mindset when choosing a ring? I'm told you can swap them out as well, which is nice. Thanks in advance, and sorry for the wall text. Keep up the good work, Cosmos. Thank you, Cosmos.
Yeah. Before we get into this, Dex, did you respond to this email?
I did.
You did? Okay, cool. Awesome. What did you say? What was your input?
You want me to read the email I wrote, like verbatim?
No, no, no. I'm just curious. I
If
wanted
you
to
could
make sure that we responded to
just like filter out the
it.
obscenity stuff
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
Well, I sent a few pictures. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, edit out blur the dick pics and or sorry, the meat
get it
pics.
blurred.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. So he's
In
asking
short,
Lekos and Cornelius is what he's mostly narrowed it down to. What
yes.
are your opinions on that?
I think the Flixbix is the double attack pet one.
yeah,
If I'm,
double attack,
Mm,
subtle
I,
blow, and then pet stats.
I'd
yeah.
never recommend that to anybody.
Okay.
What if I'm a puppet master main?
I'd never recommend that
That's
to
fair.
anyone.
Yeah. We'll have to, if you're a Puppet Master main, we might have to discuss your future on the podcast.
I think Shiraj missed out, but we read this email together and we kind of had like a small aside about it.
Mhm.
And we kind of came to the conclusion that even though Ephraim's is like the biggest weapon skill ring at endgame where you're getting buffs and debuffs and stuff going on, I think the Cornelia's is much more approachable to players who are not in that situation yet, and it will provide the biggest boon, considering that, especially this person says that they have great TP rings to begin with. Subbing one out for another one that's only marginally better, it
Yeah.
doesn't seem really worth it in my mind.
Yeah.
Whereas you can just generate tons of TP and then improve your weapon skills will much more improve your output. So ultimately, I said a whole little spiel about each ring that he talked about, and then I said Cornelius is probably the best choice.
Mm.
I
You
would
have
agree.
Ephraim's, right?
Cornelius is slept on.
Why is that, Shirash?
Well, because most people are solo players, right?
Mhm.
You're not getting a ton of benefit from FMR's ring. Like, yes, it has 20 attack and some base stats, but let's be honest, if you're a solo player, you're so far from the attack cap, you're not going to notice that small difference.
Mhm.
And it might
Or
be
you
might
know
be
at
right
all.
in reverse. Yeah, it might be right in reverse for Cornelius, but Cornelius helps with magic weapon skills, which you know is
Yep.
ideal for solo player.
Yeah, I think
I mean, I think in to a degree, Ephraim's is kind of like I like it because it's kind of like a regal ring with
Yes.
PDL on it.
Mhm.
So like even if you're not fully benefiting from the PDL, there's a lot of situations where the raw stats on it are pretty good regardless, the accuracy and everything else. But I think we all do have a bit of a bias in that, with exception of Shiraj, who solos a lot of stuff. Like we all have a bias in that I only think in full buff situations, like
Yeah.
because I don't often play without them. So I really favor PDL over a lot of things because that's just how I play the game.
I think, like,
Um,
to your point, most people aren't really acquainted in their head with when I'm close to or at attack cap and when I'm actually
mhm,
seeing the benefit of these things.
yeah. And so like, PDL we've talked about it before, I think. Like PDL literally does nothing for you. It literally there's no effect if you're not attack capped. You don't if as long as like whatever the ratio between your attack and the enemy's defense, if you're not hitting that limit, it's doing zero.
Yeah.
It's not like it does a little bit up until that point. It literally just doesn't do anything. So yeah, I mean, like, I think that there's definitely an argument. I think what I really wish would happen is that we had more transparent, because they're pumping PDL on so much stuff, and I
Mhm.
think a lot of people are using it unnecessarily. We were talking about this a little bit earlier on the stream, before we started, and like I would love to see some transparency into like when PDL is benefiting you at an
Mhm.
official standpoint, because they push it so much with aftermaths and gear and all this other stuff. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah. To me, this ring gets better. The Cornelius gets better the less an Ayame you have. If
I
you
was gonna
don't,
say,
Mhm.
Mhm.
go ahead. You
I was just gonna say, if you don't have a lot of weapon skill damage in other places, this ring is gonna do more for you than if you did.
We were like perfectly in sync with our brains because while
Yeah.
Hegma was talking, I wanted to jump in and be like, my rule of thumb is if you're like R15, R20 Nyame, then you'll start to see benefit from Ephraim's.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
Like,
think either way, like, but whether it's weapon skill damage or PDL or anything else, when you start trying to make a logical decision between these two rings specifically, you're getting into the like math part of Final Fantasy 11 that I think probably 95%, 99% maybe of the player base doesn't
Yeah, they don't
realize
care.
exists.
They just
They
get
don't
the
even
thing,
realize it exists.
plug
Yeah.
it in.
If you really want to make an informed decision, bust out the formulas and start calculating things, but most likely pick whichever one you think is going to help you the most. And I'd actually recommend too, it's not entirely difficult to swap rings given the time.
yeah.
test drive Ephraim's for a week, and then test drive Cornelia's for a week, and then see which one you feel better in. You know?
In my email response, I stressed that at the end. I was like, "Listen, don't take our word for it. Try it out, have fun, and switch it every week if you need to.
Yeah,
Have fun."
unless it's something that I say, then just take our word for it.
And then
Yeah,
that's 100%
don't
gospel.
So,
don't
a
think about
grain
it.
of salt is not necessary for myth.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad
I
we
have
One
clarified
thing I
I
will
that.
have
say though
seen
was
I have seen
Go
a
ahead.
lot of people ask about Lekos, the Dex Sortie P haste critical hit rate. Is there ever like a case for that ring? Like, would you guys ever recommend it, or is it just kind of like you know, not gonna give you the same results that you'll get from something that like Ephraim's or
I
Cornelius?
think that ring is a meme.
I think it's
Okay.
terrible as well. I can't think of it unless you're under geared and you just don't have pieces of gear, then maybe. But I don't even know if that's better than the other options.
Yeah,
If you're not geared, then weapon skill damage is how you get geared.
yeah.
Yeah.
I I wish there was more of a case for Legos. The thing is, the white hit damage just isn't as it's not as practical as it once was with
In
how.
before the comment about the Ukon build with Lecos.
Yeah, I still wouldn't use it. If that was like all I was doing, then maybe like I would play around with it. But it's just the Ukon build is fun, but that's all it is. Like
Is this
I've been
build
seeing
gonna
it
tell me
getting.
that they're never weapon skilling ever again and just riding the white hit for 3 minutes? Like, stop it. You're lying.
But yeah,
It's
one thing I will say though is I don't know who has noticed. I think Dex might have, but I've been trying to like find out the defense values of like every single endgame enemy to know when I'm attack capped and when I'm not, with what
Yeah.
buffs and debuffs.
I have a
And so
question
like
for you, Shirash.
hmm?
Why would you do that to yourself?
I've been very bored. Very
Okay.
bored.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a request for you, Sraj. Once you've nailed the entire database of defense values, can you write an add-on that like
Mm,
reports it
mhm.
and actively shows you where you are PDL wise?
It just has a
Oh,
big glowing
yeah,
green light in the top
yeah.
right of your screen, and when you're attack
Yeah.
capped, it glows green.
I mean, I could write an add-on that like targets the name of the boss, so it grabs the boss's name, and then it says the attack value that you need to reach the PDF
Mhm.
cap. And then see, it's hard to do that with the defense down values because I don't know how you would keep
Oh yeah.
track of what defense
So
down has been
complicated,
applied
right?
to. Yeah, I don't know how you would do that.
Is
Maybe
Dia
it's
on
possible, but
defense done on it? What's your geo bubbles?
yeah,
Everything matters.
it's like I don't know how you would do that honestly.
Hear me out. And I'm being facetious when I say this, but what if you added into the gear swap to automatically read the monster's defense stat because of your information, and then compare that to how much attack you have, and then it'll automatically switch to how much PDL you need in the set? Yeah.
See, you can do that to some. You can already do that. Is the thing.
Oh,
Like you can do it with your attack value, not the defense value.
interesting.
And but the problem is some enemies require so much attack, it's not
Mhm.
physically possible to get.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah.
and that's when the defense down comes into play.
Yeah. And
So
Yeah.
this is we're talking like the Ara bodies and things like that. Yeah.
yeah, like V25 require 8 to 9,000 attack,
Right.
which it's not really possible in the comps that you use to beat them.
Mm.
So and you have to rely on the defense down to even get close to that.
I mean, that being said, like we were joking about or talking about this a little bit earlier, and just to be facetious, like no Geo, Soul Voice Bard, core buffs, and then
Mhm.
whatever Berserk, Warcry, etc. and Sortie. Warrior was like my warrior was sitting at like 8,200 attack. So with a like you can get ridiculous attack values nowadays
Oh
with
yeah,
full buffs. I
for
could
sure.
see like, overcapping, it'll probably be reporting all nines at some point.
Yeah,
But but yeah, I mean, it's all situational is what's difficult.
definitely. So we have
Are
one
there
more thing that we have to discuss before we dive into the topic for the day. And that was
okay.
kind of an oversight from our last one because we were discussing sortie and we kind of put out that Easter egg about the blue mage sortie strat, and then we didn't really discuss it at all.
Oh yeah.
So we promised that we would kind of go over just briefly what the blue mage sortie strat looks like. And Dex, I think this is mostly your department. I've never done this strategy.
I haven't either. I'm just well versed in how it works.
Okay.
The the concept was I want to give credit to the person that did it,
Mhm.
but it's buried to the annals of history now.
Mm.
Um, it's probably like 50 pages deep on the forum somewhere. But at the time, if anyone is familiar, no one knew how to do the Aurum coffer in the basement, and it was a mystery. And then suddenly, someone posted on the forums, "Guys, I got the Aurum coffer in the basement. What's going on?" And everyone like scrambled to figure it out. It was like a little gold rush.
Mhm.
Turns out you need to kill all the mob types in the basement a certain amount of times, right? So
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
yeah, so if you go into all 4 basements and you kill a certain amount of each mob type, so I think it's 3 times of each job in H. Don't quote me, but, like, you can look it up on the wiki. But the
Wow.
point is, someone was in a group killing all the basement stuff and accidentally got that. So why were they doing that? Well, it turns out their group had decided instead of fighting, H and, F boss because they were struggling, they
Mhm.
just took multiple blue mages. They corralled everything up in the basement all at once and cleaved them with Entomb over and over again. Um,
Mhm.
so they would kill each basement sometimes multiple times with respawning them, and then fight, CAGE and whatever else they wanted to. And they were getting
Nice.
anywhere from 45 to 55K a run without fighting bosses.
It's not bad
And
at
that
all.
Aurum Coffer in the basement was just, icing on the cake. You get a free 3K for doing so.
Yeah.
And they would fight, I think,
Well,
2 sets of Nox?
Mhm.
I think I
Yeah,
know
so
why they were
you
struggling on Ita and Gartel is because they were bringing two blue mages.
yeah, that might be
That's
it.
rude.
You could diffusion, what is it, saline coat or whatever the magic damage one is, and just walk
Saline
out of
Code
it.
is silly. I don't disagree with you, but it's
Mhm.
silly because it decays.
Oh, is it? Funny. Okay.
The moment you cast it, I think it's 50 MDB, and it
Mhm.
decays, over the next minute to, like, 10.
Oh, that kinda
Mm.
sucks.
Um, as someone who in my 8 boss days in the beginning of Sortie, who went blue to 8 boss as one of the DDs, I'm insulted by that claim. I very often did very close to the warrior, so
Mhm.
poo poo on you, buddy. But
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
jokes
yeah. I'm sure
aside,
your blue's probably stronger than my warrior. I'm
I
just
didn't.
joking. I'm
I'm
memeing.
I'm
I'm
not being.
memeing.
I'm not making that claim. That's pretty hard to do. The utility of blue is what makes it useful, in that you
Mhm.
can defense down something or buff your team, like throw a diffusion, nat meditation before the fight,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I think the comp was Paladin, Geo, Core, Blue, and then either Red Mage or Bard. But I think you can cut one of the jobs for a third Blue Mage if you're brazen. You want to cleave a little faster.
Mm. Interesting.
It was. It's definitely something that's unconventional, and it's worth considering because you can get pretty much the same as a group that does 8 kills, but you're just
Mhm.
killing a lot of fodder over and over again.
Alright. That
Don't really
sounds
need
super
to
fun.
explain it any
Okay.
further.
That is
It's
Yeah.
that
kind
is
of like
that is cool. I didn't realize that's how you got the gold coffer in the basement. And that is really cool that you know, somebody figured it out by doing some weird obscure strat
well, it's
that
kind of right.
is pretty
It's
good.
like people taking 2 monks to Ammonon.
Yeah.
If you want to try to solve a puzzle with the different pieces, then go for it. And
Mhm.
I'm sure, it's not the best way to do things, but if you either A, don't enjoy doing things the air quotes meta way, and you enjoy playing that job, or B, you don't have those jobs. By all
Yeah.
means, get in there
Yeah.
and get the points. So you don't need to limit yourself on points. You can push your character as far as you can.
I think that's a good sortie PSA in general is like, like sort of we were talking about earlier with like should I make a masa or should I, save? It's like, well, you can't just skip to stage 4 Kusanagi. Like you gotta do something to get there. And the same thing goes for just running sortie in general. Like it's better to go in and get 5,000 Gallimaufry than to just not do it for 6 months because you can't get a perfect 8 boss group. Like
Right.
go in and figure it out. Yeah.
Right.
Velner
Absolutely.
says that he believes the basement coffer is a guaranteed starstone, but he's not sure. I don't know either,
Oh,
and
interesting.
that is something to consider, especially for groups that aren't fighting Ammonon daily. They
Mhm.
may be struggling to get a starstone. I remember way back when we were doing just 8 bosses, and some days or weeks you went without a starstone, and it was really frustrating.
Oh yeah.
Your first 5 starstones or so is the worst.
Mhm.
Because they're relatively rare and like you're desperate for them because it's the one thing gating you from making a big upgrade to your gear, but then after you finish that you suddenly have a stack of starstones and you're like, what the fuck am I
Yep.
gonna do with all this?
Yep. That is exactly
So to
right.
clarify, the condition, I was almost correct. It's 3 of each Slime Slug Flan, 2 of each Balefur, Gefrist, Ungewidder, Bergen, and Vila,
Mm,
3 of each Hound, Dullahan, and Vampire, 8 haughty foes of different jobs.
Okay. That's a lot of stuff to kill. But that's what blue mages are for. Do you guys have anything else you want to go over before we get into the topic of the day?
Not
Oh,
really.
perfect. So we are going to be going through the Final Fantasy XI Adventure Survey from 2024. This one just wrapped up a couple months ago. Well, it feels like it was just a couple months ago, but I guess now we're in August. We're almost at 2026 already. Um,
Well, they've already
and
made good on some of these promises, right?
yeah, and I don't have the questions right in front of us, so we're going to go through the results or the results of the survey. Um, And in case you guys weren't aware, Hegmo has a video. If you're not familiar with
mm,
this survey, Hegmo has a video that goes over some of the questions. And you can go check that out on his YouTube channel if you're
yeah,
interested. And it's a great
it's
video.
I made that video when the survey was still live and it was more of like a PSA, encouraging people to go do the survey. So I didn't go too detail to
Mhm.
like the individual questions or anything like that. Um, but I still get people that like will comment on that video like, "Oh, is this survey still going on?" I'm like,
I wish it was.
"No."
Yeah.
I hope they do another one. It'd be great if they did
I
another one,
agree.
um,
So the
but yeah,
yeah. So let's
go ahead.
dive right into the survey. We have the very first question that they answered for the results is when did you most recently stop playing Final Fantasy 11? We have two pie charts here. One is for the overseas areas, so that would be UK, NA, anywhere else that's not Japan, and then we have another pie chart that's specifically for Japan. When did you guys last stop playing? When did you guys have a big break from the game?
I
Uh,
quit
go
from
ahead.
I quit from Seekers until 2019,
Mhm.
2020.
Okay. And was there a reason that you left? You just didn't like Seekers?
I was extremely fatigued from Void Watch, and
Mm-hmm.
I got burnt out on the game, and I was starting to play other things
Okay.
and fill that void otherwise. But the itch comes back.
Yeah. Hegmo, when was your last big break?
Um, I think probably I can't remember the exact era. I actually didn't really play during Adeline, so it was
Mm,
probably like late Abyssia era. Kind of, I took a really long break because I was in school and doing other stuff and focused on other things. I played Final Fantasy 14 for quite a bit, um, and just was playing other games. And then I didn't come back until on I think after Rhapsodies had concluded,
mm-hmm.
and that's when I came back and really started playing consistently.
So you've been playing since like 2017, 2018 consistently?
Yeah, I think I took a short break at some point,
Hmm.
a couple times for like a few months and, did other things, especially before I started streaming. But I was kind of on and off, and I would go and play another game for a few months and step away from 11. But for the past 2 years since I started streaming, I can no longer take breaks. I just always play the game 100% of the time.
Okay, cool. Shirash, you kind of recently came back from a break, didn't you?
Yeah, I think the start of Odyssey, I beat V15s, and then I kind of was forced to take a break. I joined back a little bit, like I resubbed for like 1 month, and then I quit again, and then I came back slightly for the master trial in September of 2023, and then I quit after I beat that. Came back for August, and I've kind of been subbed since.
Okay.
But yeah, I've like officially been back since like September of last year.
Mhm. Yeah, I think this is interesting because the survey says that the response indicates that most of the people that responded to this stopped playing after the voracious resurgence started coming out.
Mm,
And so I imagine that there's going to be some skewed results because it's going to be hard to find a bigger base of like people answering this question that haven't played in a long time. So I
yeah.
feel like that's going to definitely skew the results more towards people that have more recently played and are still kind
Yeah.
of in the loop of what's going on.
Right. I think there's like some recency bias. I don't know if that's the proper like
Yeah.
statistical terminology, but like where anybody who stopped playing in Treasures is probably not following Final Fantasy 11 enough to want to know that a survey is going on. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So
But at the same time, I don't think it's completely inaccurate that a lot of people have left since Voracious, especially when Sortie came out and they dropped the prime weapon requirements. It felt like there was a big wave of people that quit. What do you guys think?
mhm.
I think it's interesting that, 50% or less is the only current actively playing, and so many people other than that responded.
Hmm.
I mean, I think a lot of I mean, I know I personally shared the survey with as many people as I could. And I think that a lot of people, saw the survey and encouraged their friends that used to play it to fill it out because it does show like renewed development interest and other stuff that is exciting to former players to a degree. And we can follow up. There's a few follow up comments I want to make to this question specifically, but I think that it's just like there's a lot of people that maybe shared and promoted filling out the survey whether you're playing or not.
Hmm.
So it spread a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I think.
At a base point
Mhm. Go
at a
ahead.
base point, I would say that because so many people who don't currently play the game replied, it's a very good indicator that there are things that can be done to improve the game to get more
Yeah.
people to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah, I think this pretty much confirms that Sortie is the worst, and it needs an overhaul.
Um, Enoch says definitely when TVR came out, I had a lot of friends dropping out in droves. I think it was because no one really saw where TVR content was going.
Hmm.
Like just because the initial I think TVR was honestly the only recent expansion or change where I was actively playing as stuff was coming out. And it is kind of hard when you see like a set of 3 quests come out every 3 months, you know what I mean? And, there's no real additional story content or any or there's additional story, but there's no, like, battles that are associated with that, and you kinda lose hope for a little bit. I can
Yeah.
see that
People
for
that
sure.
played during the Wings of the Goddess days know that this is just how 11's released its stories. You
Hmm.
get a patch every month or 2 or 3,
Mhm.
and you get 1 new quest, and then that's it, and if something big happened, cool, but no mostly something big did not happen, and you just piece together that story in your brain over the next 2 years and hope it works.
Did you guys do the quests as they were coming out for
I
TVR?
did.
I did, yeah.
Did you
It
enjoy
made it
them?
hard to follow the story. I
Oh, really?
did not enjoy the
Hmm.
quest or story for the first 4 or 5 wings of the expansion,
Okay.
and then after that, it got a little more interesting lore-wise and story-wise. But in terms of completing the content, none of it was enjoyable because
Mm.
it was very
What,
brain
you
dead.
didn't like going and getting your Roland berries and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
your,
Yeah.
Go get this garbage. It's gonna
Mhm.
take you an hour.
Mhm.
Now go get this garbage. It's gonna take you another hour. Now fight this thing that you kill in 3 weapon skills. Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It
I
was
did
not
Yeah, I
not
think
do the quests as they came out, and I
mm,
also didn't pay attention to the story while I
yeah,
did them all in one
that's
time.
your fault.
Yeah, no, I
I didn't pay attention to the story. I did them as they came out.
know. Mhm,
Can't say I enjoyed it, but it was also like I think it was more enjoyable to do them with somebody who's not interested in the story.
mhm,
If you're just trying to complete it, it's actually like these little micro bursts of having to do something uncomfortable is so much better than having to do a whole expansion and trying to get through it
mhm.
uh
That's,
in whatever amount of time so you
yeah,
can
that sounds
unlock
like
your
what I tell my
galaxy.
girlfriend, just microbursts, you know? Shiraj,
I think Go ahead.
Shiraj, were you playing during, while TVR was coming out?
Yes, yes. I was quite a hardcore player from 2015 all the way to 2021.
Mhm. And did you do TVR, while the quests were coming out, or did you wait to do it at
He-
one time?
Hell no. I waited until it finished.
Here we go. That's what I'm saying. Anything you guys wanna add
I
to,
think
before we move on to the next question?
what's not
So I
being
think
really addressed
Mhm,
here with the TVR thing, because you look at the pie chart and you're like, "Oh, people hated TVR." And I think what's not being addressed here is the state of the game before TVR
mhm,
and the atmosphere of the environment in terms of how Square Enix communicated with us and projected their ideas for the game going forward.
yeah,
Uh, Basically, with TVR, they were telling us this was the last expansion. We're going into maintenance mode. We're kind of done. And that in itself is very dissuading to a lot of players who are like, I don't
yeah.
even care if I do the story, like the game's ending. I might as well take a step away.
mm.
I think that influenced a lot of people.
Well, also,
Also,
like, I don't know, with Rhapsodies, like when because Rhapsodies was the end of the story too, right? And I didn't play when that came out, so I don't really remember how the quests were parsed and stuff. But like in terms of coming together, celebration of the game, and all this other stuff, that story felt more impactful. Whereas, like, if you were under the impression that Final Fantasy 11 was ending and you're doing a dress up contest, I would be like, yeah, okay, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm,
don't, this isn't a good celebration of my
at least
experience.
when
So,
TVR was coming out, it felt to me like Rhapsodies was the end of the story because it combined all the stories into one.
mhm,
And then TVR was like an epilogue, like a little
yeah.
fun.
yeah.
There was also like a whole string of content before TVR with Odyssey that was very repelling to a lot of players for a lot of reasons.
Which is so strange because I think Odyssey is arguably the best content that they've put out.
Oh, I would agree with you. I know a ton of people that agree with you. It forces you to evolve your knowledge of multiple jobs and
Mhm,
to challenge yourself in a lot of ways. I think Odyssey, although many people hate it, is probably one of the best pieces of content they've ever put out, barring some glaring issues with certain bosses. Bumba.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, obviously, there's some issues there, but,
I
uh
think the bigger part of this question, I don't know if it goes into this because I didn't review the survey results, but I don't know if this happens as we scroll down. But the bigger thing about this question is the
mhm,
follow-up questions based on your response to this. That's one thing that I remember calling out when the survey was going on.
mm,
Yeah, there
okay.
were multiple trees of answers that you got given based on what you responded
Yeah,
as you went.
Yeah, so
I guess
so
we'll
like one
play find out along the way, but
yeah,
what's up?
the one thing that is like the most I think the biggest part, because I just scrolled through and I don't think it's in there,
Mhm,
is that if you were to say that you don't currently play or you quit at a certain time, they'd give you a question that said, what would make you interested in coming back?
okay,
And that was like the one of the biggest, like, kind of, especially for people that weren't currently playing, a lot
mhm,
of the discussion was around that question because there were answers to that question, including like combined subscriptions with Final Fantasy 14 or a new the support for current gen consoles and stuff like that,
mhm,
which is a pretty big thing for Square Enix to suggest could be possible.
I think it's also true that in those answers, they gave, a plethora of answers. I think some of them were red herrings in that they threw them out there, and if people bite on them, they're like, "Oh, we're just not getting that because we're not gonna do that."
Yeah. Yeah, I
Like
mean,
console
Like, well
support, they're just like, "Well, let's just end the game now because people aren't
well,
coming back."
realistically, like, one of their answers was like, "What would make you come back?" "Oh, a whole new expansion," and
Yeah.
they have no intention of doing that. It might happen way down the line, but at least at the point in which they were doing this survey, they had no intention of doing that,
I gotta
and,
say, if they were to do a new
people like that.
expansion, now's the time to do it.
I agree with you, especially considering all the 14 interest, all
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
renewed interest in the game, all the people coming back for freebies, the
Mhm.
bonanza shit. Like, there's a huge influx of players playing this game, and they should strike while the iron's hot. The issue is the whole development team and the code of the game.
Mhm. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Before we
And
do,
yeah, go ahead.
I wanna say, like, I've had a few comments,
Mhm.
from people in that they are begging for, the whole, timestamp thing on our podcast,
Yeah,
and I don't necessarily think we need that, but it's just funny in that the
yeah.
topic that we're getting to has this enormous buildup, and
Uh,
if they're just here for the answers to, like, what we want
oh,
from
yeah. No,
quality of life,
I
they're
think we
wait.
should address that real quick. If you ask for timestamps, I'm just not gonna do them. That's it. So we kind of like discussed this in my Discord actually, because somebody asked for timestamps, and I've been asked for timestamps a lot. The reason I started the podcast was because I wanted something less edit heavy. This is something that I do for fun, and if I were doing like a guide that had like serious information in it, I would do timestamps. But for the podcast, because it's something that I do for fun and it's not like a cut and dry, like this is necessary information, it's just kind of us bullshitting. I'm just not going to do that. So
Mm.
moving on to the next
What
question.
how would you feel if
Mhm,
somebody from the community out there, as a call
mhm,
to action,
mhm.
like somebody from the community watched the podcast in full after it was published and then
Yeah.
sent you the time stops to
Somebody
insert
did
into the
that. Somebody
video?
did that for the Prime ones. So,
There you go.
so somebody made a comment on the Prime video, and they did all the timestamps, and I was like, "Hey, dude, this guy is fucking awesome." I even commented on it. I was like, "This guy's a fucking real one," and I thought about copying and pasting it into the like the info,
The
but I didn't.
description, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't want to take credit for it because I didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
So, but I think it's like I think I pinned it to the top or something like that. It should be pretty easy to find. So yeah, if the community wants to put forth the effort that I'm not willing to do because I'm a lazy piece of shit, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like I would appreciate
Nice.
that. Okay, so next question is, and okay, guys, this is where we really start getting into the mental health of the community. We've discussed this a few times on the podcast already, but it's how often do you log into Final Fantasy 11? And
Wait, you
uh,
log off?
I don't
That's what
actually.
yeah, that was my joke when I reviewed this, is that I,
When
wrote in red, like red hand drawn, "I don't log out."
I
It's at the very
don't.
top. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the by a large portion, the winning answer is almost daily, and then I
What's,
think what's up?
what's crazy is well, okay, never mind. I misread the thing. But yeah, even with Japan, the Japanese,
Mhm.
audience, like they're logging in daily. And I think that the game really encourages you to do that with
It
Sortie, with
does.
Odyssey, with other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it
Absolutely.
interesting that overseas and Japan are almost identical here.
Mhm.
It's because there's so many motivating factors that you can only do daily that you feel kind of obligated to take advantage of if you are a no lifer like us.
Oh, yeah, especially now with DM augments happening
Mhm.
every day. Phew, you gotta log in every
Hey,
day.
I asked for
Yeah,
that. I asked for that in the survey. I asked
I
for it specifically.
I think that's a great quality of life adjustment.
I want more things like that.
I think
Mhm.
we can kind of skim past that. Most Final Fantasy 11 players log in very frequently. I think the second place one was like less than the above, which is kind of strange because it goes from almost daily to minimal. About once every 2 to 3 months is an option. But after that, the third highest ranking was 4 to 5 times a week. So I think we are getting a good spread of responses from people that are actively playing and people that are not super actively playing, but still kind of up to date with what's going on in the game. So the next question is how many hours, and again, mental health question, how many hours do you play Final Fantasy on each average day? And this is where things start getting a little scary, guys. I gotta say. Um
We got called out.
40% of people that are not in Japan play 4 hours or more. Damn.
I
And
mean,
then
I record myself playing
mhm.
8 hours or more regularly.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm just impressed by your stamina that you have to
Mhm.
stream and play for that long. It's very
Yeah.
impressive. And the fact that you don't have like um permanent scarring from sitting in your chair that long, it's very
Oh, there's
impressive.
permanent disability happening, but
Yeah, there's definitely some damage being done there. How often
yeah.
do you guys normally play in one sitting besides Hegmo? Because we all know Hegmo plays for 4 to 14 hours at a time.
Mhm.
Dex, what does your normal play time look like these days?
Probably. Well, I get home at like 2 a.m. I do sortie, and then I'm up for until I fall asleep. So
Mhm.
probably like 8 to 10 hours a day.
Okay. Wow. Sure, Ash.
Dex plays almost as
Yeah.
much as me, if not more.
Yeah. Wow. I honestly didn't know you played that much, Dex.
No, I mean it varies.
Mhm.
I'm being a little sarcastic. Like at most it's like 4 hours a day
Okay.
on a given day, and then if like I feel like grinding on the weekend or something, then I'll do a lot more.
Yeah. Sure, Ash, are you when you do log in, how often are you or how long are you playing on normal average?
Um, Honestly, for the past 3 months or so, I would say it's between 3 to 4 hours whenever I do
Okay.
log in. Um, when I was playing hardcore, it's like 8 plus per day.
Mm, okay. I'm at the point right now where I essentially sit down, do sortie, and then I just leave. And that's it. Like I do not even an hour the whole sometimes. Like I'll kill my 8 bosses with like 10 to 15 minutes left and I'll be like, I'm done with this and warp out and call it a
Mm.
day. Um and then if I'm feeling like extra spicy, I might throw in like a segment run or something. But overall, I'm getting to the point in the game where I don't really
You need more things to
feel
chase.
what's that?
You need more things to chase.
Yeah, yeah, I'm running out of motivation to do some of the content. So like I don't mind doing sortie once a day. But outside of that, it's hard to like mentally build myself up to putting together a group and or like adjusting my own stuff to a point where I can tackle this content and just like going back and forth between all this stuff that I've already done before and then just going through that process again. It's not always something that
Oh
I feel like doing.
wow!
You okay? All right. We'll
Oh, that was X. She's got
we'll
the fucking cat next door. My
yeah.
bad. She bit my finger. I'm so.
We're gonna mute Shiraj here. Um, okay, on to the next question. Which
Domestic issues.
jeez,
Um, I think
which
that I mean, just as a final on that, like I
mhm,
think that we're a skewed audience, but I think I would not be surprised if most people are doing 1 or 2 dailies a day. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But the game really does encourage you to be doing a lot, and there's never something you're never. There's never a point where there's nothing to do in Final Fantasy 11. It's just, do you
yeah,
want to do it? Is the
right,
question.
right.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at is like,
Mhm.
do I have the motivation to actually go do whatever that doesn't really impact that much at this point in the game where I'm at.
Mhm.
So I think the overall consensus on the bottom it says the majority of players fall between 2 to 3 hours per gaming session in Japan and 4 or more hours overseas, showing a
Oh
clear
wow, that lines
difference
up.
in playing styles between the two regions.
Mm.
And
So you're just saying that the Japanese are more efficient.
more efficient or forced to work more, I think is
Different cultural
yeah,
situation. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, which of the following best describes how you play Final Fantasy 11? The answers are I usually play solo. I recruit new party members each time, and I play with a set group of people. And
Mhm.
the results are pretty even between play solo and a set group of people. For overseas, so again, UK, or not UK, Europe, NA, whatever, are 45% play solo and 48% play with a set group of people, while Japan is
Mhm.
53% play solo and 44 play with a set group of people, and then the rest invite new people all the time.
Now, I think that there is a nuance to this question that is maybe flawed,
Yes.
given the reality. Because I could see a large percentage of the people that play this game not knowing which answer to use because they multi-box. So if you're is your set group of people your multi-box, or are you solo multi-boxing?
But
You know what I
also
mean?
you can recruit party members and still play with a
Yeah,
static. So
true.
it's hard to like have black and white definitive lines for this question, because there's days where you can play with a static and then also do multiple pugs.
Also, yeah, do a pug shot or something for something else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more blurred,
Mhm.
ba-bumped than this. I don't
But
know.
I do think that
Goes deeper.
this is pretty accurate to my experience. I think
Really?
that there's a large percentage of people that play the game solo. They literally log in. They're still working through missions. They're playing casually, etc. There's a large group of people that have their statics or whatever else. And outside, I think Ashura is like you guys are on Ashura. We don't have pug groups here. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't really
Yeah.
happen. You don't nobody
So
shouts for an invite to something.
really,
Um
no one shouts, "I'm making an Odyssey group. Who wants to do
no,
Shield
like
Raid?" No one.
very rarely you'll see like in a link shell somebody say like, "Hey, I'm building up a ambuscade group if we need a bard." But like there's no very rarely a shout saying, looking for one more for sortie, looking for one more for segments.
So
That it just doesn't happen.
my follow-up question to that is that indicative of other servers, smaller servers than Ashura being more link shell centric, or is it indicative of people just not trusting the next random person to be
Mm.
comparable to
Probably a
your
little bit of both. I think that when there's a smaller pool of people, you find the people that you enjoy playing with. That's my experience, right?
and then you
And
just play with
so
them?
yeah, and like I build my group of people and we either create a static, or when I do need to fill a spot, I'm going to Discord before I'm going anywhere else.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think the smaller servers are also very link shell centric. It's just the matter of once you're in that link shell, you're pretty much there, and you're not going to be. It's not like a zero where you can jump link shells every 3 days, or even more than that. There's maybe like on Shiva, how many big link shells are there? Like three, four,
Yeah.
and on
One,
Azura,
hey,
there's yeah, just join Hagmo link shell. It should be
Mhm.
in the server message actually when you log into Shiva. Pick up Hagmo
Welcome.
link shell.
Welcome to Shiva. The link shelter join is Hangmount. That's
Yeah.
right.
But and the same thing was when I was on Sylph, the same thing would happen. I was on Fenrir for a very short period of time, and I knew like one link shell that existed like across the server, and then I was like, this is stupid, and went to Azura. Um, but that's going to preclude people from joining pugs if you only run in your link shell because there's only one or two link shells in
Yeah.
the server. So I don't know. I don't think this is a very good question to gauge like an accurate response.
I think like they're it's self-fulfilling in both directions,
Mhm.
right? Like the smaller servers, they have less players, so you want to play with just the people you've made friends with, and when they're not around, you can't do content, so you're incentivized to multi-box, and then more people multi-box, and then more people just end up playing by themselves. And when in the larger servers, like Hegmo said, there's more population to pull from, so you don't get punished for missing somebody. You can fill a spot quickly, and more people are incentivized to just group up and pug because
Mhm.
there's more availability.
Yeah, for now until they start banning everybody on Azura
Well,
because they
we
can't
haven't talked
rank
about the
anymore.
drama that
Yeah.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
Okay.
Anything else to add for this question in particular? The response from Square Enix says only a minority of players openly recruit other members to join their party. This is a dynamic that is also reflected in the responses to the next question regarding the player's satisfaction with the game. So let's get into that. How satisfied are you with the current state of Final Fantasy XI? And so very dissatisfied, which is the lowest rating you could give it, is actually the least amount of people. And the second least, or no, I guess it's the third least amount of people responded that they're very satisfied. So many people are just like neutral, and many people are just remotely satisfied. They're medium amount satisfied with the game.
That kind of responds to me, like, that resonates with my feeling of the game right now. I'm not excited, but
Mhm.
I'm also, like, content.
Yeah. What? Okay. Here's a question that kind of opens up some new topics. I don't want to go off the rails too much, but is there anything like a specific thing that could really excite you about the game right now that they could do?
Personally, I think if they would just tell us what Limbus is going to be and give us a roadmap for that, and
Mhm.
if it was like engaging end game quality content and not just a grind every week, that would excite me. If we had like a new Omen level thing that's a or a new Dynamis Divergence level experience that we could work towards, that'd be nice to know about. But
Yeah.
The top 3 things in my mind, in order, that I would want to increase my excitement of the game
Mhm.
are end game activities, and to Hegmo's point, we have an end game activity, but it's incomplete and it feels shitty right now.
mhm,
So, it's not exciting because we don't know where it's going.
Okay.
If they were more transparent, then the excitement for the game in general would be better because people would have a kind of roadmap, a time frame for where things were coming and where they were going.
Mm.
Number 2 would be job adjustments. I want bad jobs to be good. I want jobs to get fixed. I want things to feel better, to play better.
Mhm.
And number 3 would be like a story. But that's like a shot in the dark. It's not going to happen. I would really like a new story to maybe give us a new area, maybe give us new things to do.
Yeah.
I
I
know we're
mean,
not
like
going to.
if you want to talk like extreme crazy, what would be the most exciting thing that I think would be most impactful on the future of the game and capitalizing on the surge in interest is getting is if they announce like a legitimate expansion. like we're
I
adding a
agree.
new continent, new content, and a new job.
Mm.
Like I think that you'd see a huge surge in players at that point. But that in the realm of possibility, a fraction of a percent that happens ever.
Yeah.
If they said, "Thank you for all the support. We have seen a massive influx of players, and we're very happy to support this game for many years to come. And
Mhm.
because of all this new support, we have plans to make a new expansion in 2028." You know, like, give us, like, a year, like,
And
way
some
in
quick
advance.
somebody clip that with like him
Mhm.
making that statement and just out of
Yeah.
context share that and like make sure that's
Yeah.
the intro to the podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
in
put it over the Square
2028,
Enix logo. Yeah.
If you can
we're
find another clip of Dex saying and I quote and then clip them together,
Oh
that'd be
yeah.
even better.
Absolutely.
like, you know how, like, a game or a movie or an anime or something gets teased, and then at the end of the trailer, it's like, "Now in development." I just
Yeah.
want that, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shirash,
Yeah, I
is there
mean
anything that would excite you about the game, Shirash, other than V30s or like new Master Trials?
I
Honestly,
want
this might be surprising. I don't want any more Master Trials, but
Yeah, but what are you gonna grind your face against when you're done with Master Trials?
I want honestly, like, without like no joke, I want more V25s, like that style of content
Mhm.
or that level of content. I would say
Yeah,
because V25s are like the perfect difficulty balance. It's just perfect.
yeah. I think the
except on
V24s
the
are pretty good. Yeah, besides,
Well, it's
besides
also like the idea that adding in V25s implies adding in V0s and V15s. You know, like those that would be a new path of NMs that would provide alternate progressions, new armor, new weapons, new accessories that would, be scalable to the whole audience.
Mhm.
Everybody that's at and in a ranging scale of proficiency could progress through new fights. And I think that's why Odyssey is such a good system in a lot of ways.
What if
This V0
they
Suckpot is amazing. V30 is even better.
what if they added to systems like Dynamis, and instead of adding like SU, like additional number to superior stuff, they added in
Mm.
master level equipment?
I would love that. I would love for there to be master level equipment. I still think I'm praying and I'm hoping every day that they announce that like expansion of the master level system and that we get master level gear,
Mhm.
and then that revitalizes crafting, and we also get master level gifts that are like the equivalent
Oh
of
yeah, the
job
job
point
gifts.
gifts within that system, because it adds a further reward to progressing through that very
I'm all
very
on board
arduous grind.
with all of this shit. The caveat to all of that is that the game needs to be more rewarding with exemplar points and make that grind not miserable.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like they kind of fumbled master points and master levels. I think they could have made it way more interesting of a system than it actually is. And not
They're
not
Yeah.
only not only for like what they do for the job, but also like how you gain exemplar points. It could have been like super dynamic. It could have been really engaging. Just overall, the master level system as it is, I don't enjoy it.
the concept and name implies that it's more about like really doing well on your job and
Mhm.
taking it to further heights, and then you're rewarded with like a stat. It's very meager.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like I've always kind of defended master level 50, and that like when you step back away from it and you look at the whole thing, like if there was any content in the game, whether it's grinding, building Odyssey bosses up from 0 to 25s, etc., or anything else, and you were to look at it and say, at the end of this progression, you get a third ring slot that's plus 50 all stats, plus, whatever, all combat skills, HP plus 500, like all this other stuff. When you look at it like as a singular piece of gear, it's like, oh my God, that's crazy. Of course I'm going to do that. But because you never really see like the full impact of that comparatively, and you could just get these incremental jumps of like one stat, 10 HP.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't feel as crazy. So I don't know. I think that it's we see the evidence of how strong master levels are all the time because of how much easier content is now because of them.
Mhm.
But it'd be nice to see a little bit more of a like spike in certain areas where you can really be proud of that
I
accomplishment.
agree with you.
Yeah.
It's almost entirely feeling that way due to how exponential it gets in the
Mhm.
35-40 range,
Yeah.
and that was very unnecessary.
I
Yeah, I
think
mean, when you're going
even
from 49 to 50 and you're like grinding through 12 hours of EP to get one stat,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that feels really bad.
Isn't it
But
1 to
yeah.
45 is halfway to 50?
yeah,
Yes, yes.
and
It's like, why?
even if they didn't change the stats, but they changed the way you obtain master or exemplar points, uh, that would be fine with me. If we had more fights like Peach Power, and we had
Yeah,
like if you could go into a V25 level fight with no other objective than to get 200,000 exemplar points from it,
oh, I've said this a
Mm.
I
million
would
times.
that would be amazing.
People should be able
Well,
to
I
go
mean,
in and help other people with the incentive of getting a massive master level reward.
Mhm.
yeah,
People should be able to do it's master levels. You should be able to do end game content and get strong rewards. They're locked
Yeah.
yeah.
out daily. What's the problem?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Introduce
like, I
master
think
level
that,
trials and that are
oh, yeah.
explicitly for getting exemplar points but are difficult
Mm.
battles. That would be fun.
Listen, Square
I,
Enix is not blind to how bad they've fumbled this, and every piece of content they've added since Master Level 50 has had an exemplar reward to it. It's a
Mhm.
band-aid, but they're slowly adding more and more shit that gives exemplar points. I think the best quality of life, because we're on this topic, to fix this issue is to just go back and add more exemplar to other older content to
Yeah,
incentivize
like
people
when
doing
you
more
do
things.
dynamis divergence, you get 1
Yeah,
exemplar
you get
point
one
for a
exemplar point.
fucking Kadam. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
I
So
mean, I do think that like I wish that there were more incentives. And I do want to say, like, do you think that Square Enix had they must have because they know how people play the game, I assume. But like, do you think that when the first person hit M50, they were like, "Oh shit, I thought that would take 5 years. We designed this to take way like not be something that you sat down and did
I mean, they
that
got to know
would be like a
how
lifetime achievement."
they got to know people are going to bot it with how
Yeah,
much of a grind that they've created it. There's no way that there's not droves of people that are botting this content.
Botting
mhm,
aside, I think this is tough because I have like an antithesis to what I'm about to say. But if they put
Mhm.
something in the game, I think they know that there are the 1% of people who are going to get that done at the fastest pace possible. No
Yeah.
holds barred. They will do it.
yeah.
And then, like, obviously, like the caveat being master
Speaking
trials.
of, I just got a master level on Beastmaster. Hell yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You're
Wow.
master level 1.
M43, baby.
Wow, that's really sad. I think it's
What a
interesting
loser.
because while we've been talking about like content related stuff, the overall response to the survey that we've been going over is people have been talking about their ability to form groups. So
Hmm.
uh, some players stated that playing the game by themselves limits their ability to access endgame content, making it hard for them to find things to do within the game. As such, it seems like factors such as these also influence their response. Let's see. Oh yeah, they're basically not able to find people to form groups. They seem to want a party finder similar to they have in
Yeah,
14.
that's something
And
that's come up recently.
mhm. Do you think
Did
that
they
would be
there was like a
reasonable?
developer note on it. I I think that like I don't know. That's a hard one. I
I don't
think that
know
it
if that
would
would
be
work.
great.
Yeah.
If you
I
go
think
down
it
the
would be
rabbit
great for
hole,
the
right?
game.
If you go down the rabbit hole of a party finder similar to 14, the inherent stressor on that system is the fact that we're divided by servers.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I mean,
Well, I mean,
14
like the
overcomes that,
thing
doesn't it?
is, yeah, well, 14 has a lot of cross server functionality
Mhm.
Yeah.
that 11 doesn't. And I don't know if that's even possible to implement into 11. Who knows? But I think the real problem, the bigger problem, is that 14 is designed in a way that role is your character's role, your job role is much more flexible in a party composition.
True.
So like you can go into a dungeon with a black mage and a summoner, and you can do just as well as when you get a monk and a dragoon.
Yeah.
Whereas in 14, like so much stuff is so situational. So if you queued up for Party Finder to do Odyssey and you get put into a group with a three puppet masters and a scholar and a rune fencer,
You're just not winning.
like yeah, it's just like,
Mhm.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I think they would have to fundamentally change what that content is and how it works.
yeah,
14's jobs are a lot more homogenous.
I'd love to see Shiraj queue for a party finder master trial for what is it? For
Yeah.
Chaos and Bahamut. I think that
Fill
would
me in,
be
I
Cole.
mean,
what was that,
I do
Shiraj?
think like
Said fill me in.
Yeah,
Let's
hell
do it.
yeah. Let's do.
because like the different like I guess that's like a duty finder situation in 14 if I'm getting my terminology correct where you're auto placed something like a party finder where you could post a thing like not shout but you could open up a menu and say I'm looking for a bard for this role and it would just post it as like a board where other players could go and see it like and then apply for it or whatever. I think that would ease a lot, but I think you still run into server population issues. They're like, you would have to have some sort of cross server functionality for that to really be useful.
A lot of people don't even want that, right? Like they kind of
Yeah.
like the way that the high pop servers, you can kind of like play that way, or you can decide to play on a small pop server and get things done that way. Like they like the duality of it, and you can kind of pick and choose the way you play the game. Shraj, how do you feel about it?
I think it'll be bad for the game, honestly.
It would be
I think,
bad for the game to have Party
yeah,
Finder.
yeah, because well, the main thing is the server population,
I
and
think it's also to do with the complexities, right?
yes, like you can't some content you just can't really kill, and
It's not something you
V20s
can
and
template.
V25s are proof of that. You can't just randomly, even if you try vet somebody, you can't clear most V20s, let alone V25s. Yes, they're doable sometimes, but it's like, and if you do a party finder, you can't even vet anybody. You can't check if they have the right idea of what they're doing or the right gear. It's just,
To that
it's
point, thinking
not gonna
about
go
it
well.
now, 14 does kind of like the WoW thing, right? In that when a new piece of content comes out, all your old gear is antiquated, is sunset,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and now you need to get the new gear, but you don't swap around your gear a lot. You just get that gear and then you just wear it, and your skill is not that you've had and acquired this arsenal of equipment to be best in slot for any action you do. It's that you're pressing the buttons at the right time and moving to the right
Right.
positions and yada yada.
Yeah, and that's the problem with 14's party finder is if you try party finder something, like let's say you try party finder in ultimate, right, and 14. You don't know if somebody's going to be good or not, so you've got to run ACT in the background, looking at the pass numbers to see if this guy's doing good damage. Then you have to see if he's dying or time to mechanics of
Well, in like a normal setting, everyone's like middle ground of a player. If everyone's kind of comparable in their skill, you can kind of work together and solve problems and coach each other to the solution. But with
yeah,
11, there are stopgaps. If you party finder into some warrior, you need a warrior for the piece of content. I found a warrior. Boom, join.
Mhm.
You don't know if he's got 2 years worth of gear that you and him are gapped by. Like he might be missing all the Odyssey stuff. He might be missing all this, and it's not like you can just teach him how to do the content. He is fundamentally missing this gear that provides him the DPS needed to do the content.
Right. Well, I think like too, like beyond that, like I think that what happens in 14, like the same problems exist in 14 to a degree at a different rate or a different scale. But like, if you get somebody that applies for um your extreme trial in 14 that doesn't have their melded gears and BIS, whatever, like they might just not meet an HP check for a certain mechanic and like they just can't do it.
Mhm.
But the bigger thing is that when that occurs, the fight ends, everybody leaves, you boot somebody out, you find a new warrior, right? Um, Most of the content where this would matter in 11, that doesn't happen because if that happened in 11 when you did your Odyssey segment run or something, like you come out of the content and you boot the warrior and you're like, okay, we'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't immediately go back into the
Mhm.
content. And I think that is difficult. I think they would have to implement new content that's more like if it were a Limbus situation, like maybe
Mhm.
Limbus ends up getting NMs and there was a party finder system around it where you could freely go in and out. You could attempt new NMs, you could try different comps, etc. It would make sense there but for a lot of the content we have now, it just doesn't make sense.
I could see them making a party finder specifically for Olympus, and I think it would do well. The other content, much, much more difficult.
Mhm.
yeah. Like look at what Max said in chat. Like the party listing system is basically what 14 has, and like it's good for casual content. It's not good for endgame. When you need
Yeah.
specific stuff and specific caliber of players, it's never good. You can't rely on randoms. It's just the way it is.
Mhm. That's
I
why
think
I
it's
never invite you guys to content that I do.
true. You're so much better than us.
I kind of figured that's why I pistol.
Yeah.
I strive to be just like you, Dad.
Oh Jesus. All right. You guys got anything else you want to add for that one?
I just think that this
I forgot
whole
what the question was. How
the
satisfied are we
question
with Final Fantasy then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing to do with what we're talking about, but
Yeah.
it was a
the
question.
question is, how is the current state and are they satisfied or not? But we delved into like people asking for a party finder type thing.
Mhm.
Mhm. So the next question we have is how satisfied are you with login campaign rewards? and I don't even know where to start with that. It seems like most of the results, people are mostly satisfied or neutral.
Mhm.
The much smaller chunk is people are not happy with it. But like I I don't know about you guys. I don't pay attention to the login rewards that much
Yeah.
because they're just not meaningful to me.
I'm a
Uh,
hoarder and a collector, so I
okay.
have to
Hmm.
pay attention.
I'll collect
I
the
think
mounts.
I think what's more important about this question
Mhm.
is that these are biased. They're like our we've gotten to see the 6 or 7 months since this survey concluded. Um, I don't care about login point campaigns. I don't I really ever look at them. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't apply to me or stuff that I've already picked up because I've been playing games for so long. But I think that this is the first question that's come around where we can look and say, "Oh, hey, well, they've changed them already in 6 months.
Mhm.
They've changed the cadence and the pacing of how these work, and they're trying new things," which I think is worth talking about.
What have
Did
they
they change the
changed?
login campaign? I don't think
Yeah,
they did.
they started doing the like specials where there were different mixes of trusts that were released. There were months where they've changed up things
Oh, I
entirely. Like
see.
there was the whole month where like not the distribution of them or anything else, but they're changing what's given away and
Mhm.
how it's given away. I think it
Well,
was
I
two
do
months
think
ago, everybody was in uproar because they took the last Genkai items out and you actually had to do those quests.
oh, I didn't
Um,
notice that.
yeah,
What, like,
yeah.
seasoning stone
The
and shit?
fossilized bone, yeah, and all that stuff, they took those
Okay.
out for a month, and people were all the people that came back to the game that were trying to
Well, that was
play.
probably a foolish idea,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I
But the
think the
thing is
challenge
that they're looking at those rewards and how they're distributed and what they are,
I
and
like that
not
they're
just
giving it a look.
repeating, copy pasting. Yeah.
Yes, I like that they're willing to change things, but, like, I think, the whole structure could either get an expansion or an overhaul. I think a lot of it is, like, completely pointless, and a lot of it is, uh, misvalued.
Yeah.
I do like the whole 10 section where it's like, this is stuff that will if you're a brand new player, it should be basically free, and it will help you, you know, get through
Mhm.
your Genkai, like seals, crests, zones, yada
Mhm.
yada. Those stupid invites for Vanabout, those
Hmm.
I don't like that Vanabout does it, but, like, the fact that those are there for free just lets you do
Oh,
the
yeah.
content. I just don't think they should be behind login points. I think those, like, Marshall
They
Ball
should just
invite, they
yeah.
should just be
They
on
should
an
just
empty page.
change the system, like,
Yeah.
just remove the entry requirement for this random obscure item, like
I think it's 2025. Why are Rem's Tales 1 through 5 300, but Rem's Tales 6 through 10 750? Like, all of these should
well,
be 100.
especially now that they're in ambuscade rewards
Exactly,
for
exactly.
so much cheaper. They should just take them out of login campaign entirely and put something relevant in. I mean, I
Seasoning
would love to see something that's just like because I think for all of us, people that play daily for 8 to 10 hours,
even the players
the
don't have 1 through 5, but they have plenty of 6 through 10
right,
because 'cause they're doing the harder fights constantly and not
right.
doing the silly garbage fights.
Because we did Lilith 1,000 times.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Or Shinryu.
But like, I don't know. I think that I would love to see something crazy, like you get uh 10,000 exemplar points, or you know what I mean, something cool where it's like you have all the stuff, you don't care about getting, you can't get another trust because you already have them all. You've gotten the lock style pieces. Here's something that's like just a little bonus for logging in this month because you've got, I don't know.
To get down to the raw, like, base point of that idea is there should be something tangible and worth spending the points and time on for both new players and
Mhm.
veteran players.
Well, let me
Um,
ask, as a veteran player, what do you spend your points on? Or if anything, like what comes up?
uh, that's the problem. I get the
Lock
new thing,
style.
whatever the
Okay.
new thing
Yeah.
is.
Sure.
The brand new thing is always 500 points,
New
so
mount.
sometimes I have to spend
Mm.
1,000 to plus one it.
Mhm.
Um, after that, 90% because I have all these cosmetics that they have in the 100, 300 category already,
Mhm.
90% of the time I'm either letting it fall over, I'm spending it on
Yeah.
Beastman seals,
I
or
don't spend mine
garbage.
95% of the time.
So
I
Um,
mean,
I
what if you could
spend
get
on
2,000 login points and get a fucking Rakaznar plate or something and do an extra sortie run?
those
Like
are
that's the
great
yeah,
ideas.
yeah.
I
Like
spend
one per
points
month.
on impish boxes because I don't like farming them,
I
and
was
I
gonna
Oh, that's
say,
spend
fair.
points on the Empyrean items when those are out, but those haven't been out for like 2
well,
years.
that should. So my response to this question in the thing,
Mhm.
the survey, was the Empyrean thing should come around more often,
Yeah.
uh, and more things similar to it, right? They have the coupon eye seal from Vanabout. Just throw that in there in the 1,500, or add an even bigger
Mm.
category, like Hegma said, 2,000
Hmm.
point.
Yeah, I think eye seals are a good
Um,
idea.
the rewards from Vanabout are. I feel like Vanabout. I hate that this is like segueing into Vanabout,
Yeah.
but I feel like Vanabout, at its core, is their way to test the waters of rewards
Hmm.
and of campaigns, right? So they put out a teaser. This is a campaign we're going to do, and if you get this many Vanabout points, we do the campaign. And then people are like, okay, cool, campaign. So they get to test out this new campaign, and they get to structure it in a way where people have to earn it too. So people have to play the game. It's
Mm.
just like twofold. Uh, those campaigns that they've now tested should then get put into the rotation just naturally. They've tested it 2 or 3 times. People were happy and satisfied, or they weren't satisfied, and then the second time they made it better, right? And then now that it's better, put it into the rotation. Same thing for this. If uh if impish boxes are like a good thing to chase, cool, then put that in. If these key items or these items that you're rewarding from Vanabout are desirable and purchased, or not desirable, not purchased enough, that lets you know how to structure it point wise. Like if no one's buying the key item to go back into Rick Kasner, into sortie, then make it a 1,500 point one.
Mhm.
If people are always buying the Empyrean weapon stuff, make it 2,500 points from login
Yeah.
points, but put them into the login point structure once you're done with the Vanabout testing the waters. And then the next time you do Vanabout, it can be a whole new list of stuff
Hmm.
because you've now transitioned it out of Vanabout into login points and campaigns. And then because of that, the Vanabout has new exciting stuff and people will be more compelled to do it. It's just like it feeds itself.
Mhm.
Can we? The only thing I have to say in response to that is that I hate Vanabout and I wish they'd stop doing
I, I,
Yeah.
I think they've really shot themselves in the foot with how they've rolled it out. It could have been something good and something fun, and I think it still can. I don't want to poo-poo
Mm.
Vanabout just yet. I just think
I
they're
just
leaning
wish,
into all the
yeah.
wrong things.
I
I've
think
never
that
done
they
it.
they set a number of objectives based on the first one, and people have done it because it's a novel idea, and they've taken that as like, oh, we did it right. But I really think that like all the objectives, that all this antiquated content that you don't do otherwise,
Yeah,
is
that's the worst.
such a like like it's just terrible to go through.
The
Yeah.
problem is
Um,
I know so many people that just do Vanabout because it's
yeah,
something to do.
yeah.
Yeah, I've never
I would
done
love there to
Vanabout.
be some sortie objectives, some Odyssey objectives,
Yeah.
some, like content that we actually do. So people that, because there's already so, I think, I'll jump off the tangent after this, but like already there's 4 hours of content to do a day if you want to do all the end game stuff. So like,
Mhm.
I don't have time to go cook some Galkan Sasha on top of a hill, like it's just like, or catch some moat carps on a boat. Like it's
Don't you
like,
cook Galkan sausages in your free time anyway? Isn't this kind of like a
yeah, but
win-win for
like,
you? Or- Okay.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah. No. Oh, yum. I get it.
Uh,
So
I hate that I brought Vanabout into it, but like at the core of it, I think the biggest thing they can do to fix like login points to make them more desirable is to adjust the reward structure. And
mhm,
the Vanabout stuff inherently is like what I would want them to change into the login point stuff. I just
yeah,
think they're not
that's fair.
prioritizing things correctly.
hmm. So moving on to the next question, how satisfied are you with the content of monthly campaigns?
Mm,
And this is another one that I'll be honest, I don't pay that much attention to either. Uh, the only I don't know. I think the Omen card campaign used to be a really big one. Personally, I think it's at the point where they could either just put that on permanently or get rid of it completely because Omen
mm,
cards are so cheap now, or you need so much fewer
yeah,
than you used
Well, they
to.
kind of had made it permanent because they reduced the card
Yeah.
requirements by like 60% or something. So like it
Well, I
is
would
kind of
say
Yeah.
permanent.
that is directly in response to the survey. I think a lot
Yeah.
of people said these campaigns are antiquated and we'd like to see them full time, and they're like,
Mhm.
"We hear you. Okay, we're gonna adjust the cards to make it more approachable for new
Yeah.
players to upgrade their gear. We're gonna make the dark matter full
Mhm.
time. We're gonna make
Mhm.
Well, I
the
mean, even just like this is another one of those questions where in the past, since the survey concluded, like at least like you can see that they've made attempts, like that they're testing new things. They've implemented cutting to the requirements for certain things. How many EXP campaigns and ISEAL campaigns have we gotten this year? Like 5 different ISEAL campaigns. It's
Mhm.
like at least they're reprioritizing. I think that like the one thing I think my answer to this at the time was like, nobody is ever going to be excited about the hyper chocobo digging campaign. Stop putting it in there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's certain stuff that like I'd rather see exemplar point or sortie campaigns or Odyssey campaigns.
Mhm. I want to see a chocobo raising campaign where it takes
Ooh,
1 week to raise a chocobo to full speed,
that'd be cool.
from start to finish instead of what is it now, like 90 days or something crazy like that? I don't even
and you
know.
can't miss a day really.
Yeah, I all I know is I tried to raise a chocobo the other like a couple months back. I put the egg in the thing in the stable in Sandy, and then I forgot about it, and I haven't
Yeah.
gone back since.
Oh
I do
no.
think
Yeah.
that these kind of campaigns should be a means to get people back into older stuff with like
Mhm.
carrot on a stick. And maybe not chocobo raising, but I do like that idea. It's novel. Like it's something that no one does.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants their own chocobo mount that with a cool, unique color that they can and maybe if you added some like unique skins to your chocobo, um, that'd be cool. That's something that I would do in my free time. But overall, I think the dark matter campaign is great. Um, I think the lowering of the omen cards was a huge boon to especially to people that are coming back to the game. So I'm
Mhm.
fairly happy with what actions they've taken since then.
Yeah, I like Luo's idea too. I think cut mythic down by 66% would be nice too as well.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Why don't we actually just trade like 1,000 Iron Jar points for a mythic, and we'll call
Yeah,
it good.
Dunzo.
I
Yeah.
think th- we're kind of playing around it, but like I think a lot of the campaigns
Mhm.
that they have just don't feel good anymore, and they
Mhm.
should
Yeah.
do the thing that they've been doing and make them permanent. And then because there's now a gap, instead of filling it with Vanabout, like
Mhm.
add new campaigns,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, I think that again, like we saw, and granted, it was tied to Vanabout in a way, but again, to your point of like if Vanabout is testing things, um, like we saw the Odyssey campaign, that was extremely welcome. You get bonus skill rewards, bonus segments, bonus EXP
I'd
in.
say the NQ version was not well received, but the
Yeah.
HQ version was well received.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I think that that's the biggest thing that's missing is that all the campaigns apply to 5-year-old content. So like I just want to see more stuff. I want to see a Limbus campaign, a sortie campaign. Like I want to
Mhm,
see stuff that
exactly.
applies to what we're doing. Yeah.
So make the Odyssey stuff part of the rotation now in
Yeah.
place of the dark matter or in place of something else.
Mhm.
And now add a new campaign to, I guess, Vanabout, or just skip Vanabout and put it right into the rotation. But either way, like start working on something new and take the thing you tested and throw it into the rotation. I'm going down the list right now, and there's so many of these campaigns that are either pointless or should just like be quality of life themselves. Like there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah,
point.
I feel like things like monstrosity EXP that they do every single time
That
they
should
do
be
an
permanent. No
EXP
one does
campaign, just
monstrosity.
make that permanent. Hyper chocobo digging, just make that permanent. Like all that stuff should just adjust the game, like you did with Omen, and change the scaling on this stuff that people don't do.
Abyssea
Because
Light should
like,
be permanent.
yeah, oh,
Mhm.
absolutely.
I think there's a lot of things that come around that are like gill incentive or driven, and those can be like always rotating. Aman Trove,
Mm,
Nigel Isle Uncharted, um, the Void Watch one. Like those can always rotate around, give people different things to make gil with.
Mhm.
The Wild Keeper Reeves being 10 minutes or whatever, that should be permanent. The
Yeah.
macrocosmic orbs, make that on the rotation. It's exciting when it
Yeah.
comes up. People love to spam that for the month or for the 1 week. I don't wanna get into that yet. Um,
Oh God, that's the one thing I don't like.
Oh,
Campaign
the
Festa, that should be permanent. Like, who's going into the past and claiming their
Yeah,
stronghold zone for their nation?
yeah,
Like, if someone goes through the effort to organize a group of people to, like, claim all the campaign zones and now have access to that BCNM, there should not be a campaign
yeah. It
also
shouldn't only
active at
happen
the same
twice a
time
year.
to
Yeah,
get rewards. Like, you should just
right.
be like, "You did all the work, and now go do the BCNM and farm rewards."
Yeah.
Like, that'd be
Mhm.
fun. Stuff like that just
I
seems like, it's a non-starter. Just it's completely brain dead. Just do it.
Yeah, I do think that since you brought it up, the 1 week campaign thing is the worst thing that they've ever done.
Yes.
I think it's
Yeah.
terrible, especially since the excuse was Vanabout took up too much time, because everybody hates Vanabout.
Mhm.
But somebody said yesterday, I think in chat, they were like, "Do you think that the fact that they're basically repeating that 1 week campaign after Vanabout is an indication that they realized it was bad?
I think they planned it already.
You think it was planned?"
I think they split it up, like, they put the Vanabout in the middle of it
Mhm.
as a way to, like,
Mm.
keep people doing things throughout the entire month. I think that was definitely the wrong way to do it. Like, Vanabout should have fit into the in between when it
Yeah,
normally.
when we normally don't have campaigns running,
Correct.
it already happens. Yeah.
'Cause then you want to do the campaign, right, for a set amount of time, and then you kinda, like, really limit people's time to do it, and you almost, like, add a FOMO element to it, which is really stupid.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like they should just get rid of Vanabout altogether. And
Absolutely.
um, I don't know.
I
I would
don't
like to
think
see some brand new campaigns.
I don't think you'd get much pushback on that.
Yeah.
Okay, this next question is actually a fun one.
Yeah, this is, I think, the most interesting question that we've gotten so far. And it is, please select up to 3 items you would especially like to see in the future version updates. So there are 9 options. They are job balance adjustments, adjustments to existing content, additional battle content, character development, monthly campaigns, login campaigns, records of eminence, additional scenarios and quests, and none of the above for some reason. I don't know why that's an option, but it is.
The game is perfect. I don't want any changes.
Yeah, don't fuck with Final Fantasy 11. Just leave
So
it
the
as it
Mhm.
is.
overwhelming winners were additional scenarios and quests,
Mhm.
additional battle content, and adjustments to existing content.
Yeah, which
I
And I
am
guess character
shocked
is
that
development.
job balance adjustments should have been the top. Like
I
whoever
agree.
yeah,
didn't vote
I
for job adjustments is not playing the game.
and for Japan, that one came in 3rd. For
Mhm.
overseas, it came in 4th.
Fourth,
Yeah.
which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
But I guess that could be a lot of solo players. Like if the predominant population is playing solo, they might not
Mhm.
notice the need for job adjustments because their ninja works just fine when they solo with it. It's so fun it's such a great job and it does so good solo. But um, they're not playing end game party content where you realize how far behind ninja is in job adjustment balancing.
Well, as far as adjustments to existing content, they have promised, removing a lot of the, "You need 3 people to do this" thing.
Hmm.
They haven't done it yet, but they've promised it. But in my mind, adjustments to existing content would be like,
Well,
the imprimatur grind takes 6 months. We should be able to
mhm.
hold 30 imprimaturs, 45 imprimaturs instead, or reduce the time it takes to
Yeah.
accrue them,
Oh well, that would be great.
stuff like
I
that,
think
or like
you know,
carry yard.
or it's reducing card requirements, it's reducing
That's true, they
dynamis
did
void
that.
and torso. They've kind of done some of that stuff already.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, imprimaturs is one of the things that I would love to see. Just remove imprimaturs and assault tags from the game. That these should not be time gated anymore. You know
I
what
mean,
I mean?
assault
Carry
tags
yard needs to
essentially
be improved
aren't, are
too.
they?
They aren't. Yeah.
I mean,
You
they
have
are
to
because you have
really
10 minutes, but by the time you burn through all
Yeah.
of them, it's like a 1 minute cooldown.
you have to
Mhm.
really be going fast or see things you shouldn't see to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to be able to beat that timer, in my
Mhm.
opinion. But I think in
But
Harry Yard is the
I
bigger one.
oh yeah, an hour long like lockout on that
I
on
think
NIR.
you could leave the hour lockout and double the points.
Mm.
I don't even think I would rather have no hour lockout. I think that an hour long lockout on something that takes 3 minutes to do is super silly.
I don't know if there was no lockout on Azura, you might never be able to get
Oh
in.
well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
so I was
Well,
about to say
they should change that entire entry system in
Mhm.
general then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would work on your server, Hegma, but there's always,
Yeah.
like, 50 people outside of that standing there, and when
Mhm.
I
you
th-
want to go there, you trade the
yeah.
lamp, and you are fighting to get that instance.
Well, I think that like that and like it becomes I think they should increase the reward then so it's not as competitive and also remove the lamp system entirely. You know what I mean? Like just make it a part like make it like entering ambuscade or dynamis. Like you click the thing, your alliance gets taken in. You know what
It
I
is
mean?
bizarre how that content worked. At 75, the whole thing was, like, you could take more than one alliance in,
Yeah, you take two
so
alliances in.
so you had to, like,
Had to
pop a
trade
lamp
lamps. Yeah.
and then trade them around. It was such a stupid
Yeah.
system.
It was fun
I would
content
love
at
to
the
see a
time though.
standardization in general as to how entries work. Cause like you go into an HTMB and everybody has to trade their thing, or like the party gets taken in, then other content, everybody individually change their orb. Then
Mhm.
there's canteens, and then there's like I think it'd be great just from a clarity sense and for new players and everybody if like everything was just you talk to the NPC and you go in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
I do agree that, like, it's something that needs an overhaul, and we've touched the surface with those, those things that need to get adjusted, but they have put out some stuff in the right direction in
Mhm.
terms of addressing existing content.
Mhm.
So they've already made strides, but I think a lot of these bullet points that were highly requested, like additional scenarios and quests, I don't think those are happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like
S
Yeah,
overall, that was the most requested. Like if you
yeah.
total the two,
Right. Yeah, that was
I think
one in
that
both.
additional scenarios and quests, it's a long shot. I don't know. I guess like technically we're getting that'd be battle content if we're talking about Limbus. Like
yeah.
it's
Mhm.
not really that's not
Yeah.
really story or questing. So yeah, who knows? Who knows?
It
So,
would be sick if we got how we got the 3 a la carte mini expansions. If they did that route again, that'd be
mhm,
cool.
but made them
Do you
good
think
this
that
time?
people would with Rhapsodies and Voracious Resurgence having been essentially like free add-on scenarios, do you think if they made like a $10 micro expansion, people would riot? Do you
I'm
think
gonna
that would
get
be
shit
well
for
received?
this. I'm gonna get so much shit for this. I think they should add so much more paid content into this game.
I mean, I've said for the past 2 years, every time it comes up, like I've repeatedly said, if I could get a Final Fantasy 14 story boost, I would spend $20 per expansion to be just done with
Mhm.
it. You know what I mean?
When they
But
implemented the, race change, they should have added, like, 10 more faces and hair colors, and those were premium, and you had to pay an extra
ooh,
$3 for them.
you think like a cash shop kind of thing with
So
cosmetics, that kind
well,
of
like,
thing.
say me, I don't plan on changing my race at all. That
Hmm.
update, while it was cute for some people, I'm happy for them, it means nothing to me. If you
Mhm.
add
Yeah.
some brand new hairstyle or hair color or face, like, I can look like King Tryon, or you can give me the
Ooh,
pink
yeah.
hair like, the Hades guy.
Well, I
Like,
mean, if you were going the 14 route, all of the Archangel sets would have been
yeah,
$12
make yourself an
in
archangel, you
the
have pale
yeah.
skin.
Mhm.
Like, add
Even
premium
the armor
races and
sets, yeah.
faces and hairs, and then maybe you might get another $11 plus the premium from me, and how
Manthra
many more people are like me?
99.99.
Yeah. So now, like, that's just a missed opportunity in my mind. They have the models in the game, just like, you're not doing anything, just change it. Let
Yeah.
people do them.
One thing that I'm interested to see the results of is number 4 is character development, and that says job master and master levels.
Mm.
And that
New
seems really
systems for that. Yeah.
strange to me because as
It was quite popular of an answer.
yeah, it came in second on overseas and it came in third in Japan. And personally, I don't want more master levels. I I don't know about you guys, but I don't
Maybe
Yeah.
want
people
more
interpreted
EXP.
maybe people interpreted it
Mhm.
as overhauling or adding more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is my same answer as previously, where like I may have answered that as one of the options and said I wish that there was a more incentive to do master levels, like give us
Mm,
master level gifts, give
okay.
us master level, just give us another 15-minute reduction on our SPs so we get down to
Yeah.
a 30-minute SP.
Ooh.
If you hit M50.
Yeah. Yeah, unlock M75. It'll take it'll it'll take 72 hours to grind from 50 to 51, but you'll
Yeah,
get half a stat.
41. Yeah,
And if you grind to 75, you'll get 30 seconds off your SPs.
When
yeah.
this first
1 to
came out
45 is 1% of the way to 75.
when this first came out, I do recall people data mining it and seeing that it went up to 99 and the sub went to 75, but that could have just been bullshit.
I do remember that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
'cause
do
people were
remember
Really?
that.
talking about it, and there was a whole track to it, and
Yeah.
the EXP values weren't available yet, obviously.
Yeah, I remember there being speculation about dual jobs as well with like a 99 with a sub 99, and that was the concept seems really interesting. I think that absolutely break the game and they'd essentially have to redesign the entire thing.
I think above
Um
60 is when some really problematic job abilities come into play.
yeah, and I think that's why they stopped it where it is.
Do you think it's
Like,
interesting that
what are
they
some
had
examples of, like, some crazy stuff that you could get, um, past 60? Like, if you could go up to sub job 75, are you talking, like, your warrior using I guess merit point stuff, like, wouldn't apply, but,
imagine
everybody
stuffing
all
Saboteur?
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. I was gonna say, like, you get to your sub job's level 75, so you get sub job merits, and then your warrior can do an Agon.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
But the trick is you have to farm like 20 hours worth of sub job merit points with the job and the sub job. So it's like just a super
Sub
elaborate.
jobs.
Yeah.
What if
Um,
you get sub jobs?
yeah. So you're
Uh,
you're 99/75/37.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
exactly.
Now that's interesting to me because then everybody could go back to like doing some weird like ninja or dancer sub shit
Yep.
without needing it on your main sub job.
Well, I mean, I would take a sub dancer.
Yeah.
You always have dual wield. You always
Mhm.
have chocobo jig. You always have spectral jig.
Yeah, and then you
I'm
could
Pace
curious what
samba.
when you're inviting people to groups, you could be like, "Yeah, but what's your sub?"
Yeah.
Mhm.
Raj might be able to answer this most because of his experience with the master trials. I'm curious what an N50 is comparable to eye level. Like, is it like 140, 145? Because I know the master level monsters are like 150 to 158, and they're way too hard to hit. So you're definitely not there. They're definitely IT plus, but I'm curious where an M50 would sit.
I would say it's between 130.
Really that low?
Yeah. Because it's like even if you use stuff like mod or other sources to like check what some of the mobs say, some of the 145 plus still say incredibly tough.
Mhm.
But
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah, it seems like they really, really overshot some of the stats on especially Chaos and Bahamut. But then again, I don't do master trials, so I don't have to worry about any of that.
I
Do you
mean,
think it's
honest,
interesting that oh, sorry, go
hmm?
ahead.
I was gonna say honestly, the Chaos and Bahamut Master Trial are very similar to August in terms of the stats. It's just the main difference is we could use pre-buffs for August.
Okay.
There's no pre-buffs for Chaos. If we had pre-buffs for Chaos and Bahamut, we would have beaten the fight 7 months ago.
Mm.
Okay. So the next topic we have is the comments. So these
Before you get
are
to
yeah.
do you think it's interesting that they had this whole section dedicated to what do you want from monthly campaigns? What do you want from login rewards? But then in terms of pick 3 things to see updated, the lowest results were Records of Eminence and monthly campaigns.
Oh, and we've gotten changes to monthly campaigns already,
I
and
think I think that just goes to show like how important the other topics are to the players.
yeah.
I suppose that's true.
I mean, we could do a whole speculative, and it wouldn't be worth anything. Talk about job balance adjustments, but
Mhm.
I as much as I want to talk about all that more, but I do think it's interesting that like what have they changed so far in this? It's kind of weird because like records of eminence, I guess they haven't really changed too much.
They
Login
did add
campaign
sortie.
rewards. Yeah, they added sortie. Login campaign rewards was one of the like, 19%, and they adjusted that slightly. Monthly campaigns was one of the lowest voted things, and they've been changing that.
It kind of
But they
gives me the
haven't gotten
idea that
to
they threw out these ideas because they had these ideas,
yeah,
and
Mhm.
they were
and they
kinda
wanted to
curious
see
how
yeah.
people responded, but regardless, they were going to do them.
Hmm.
Okay. So now we're on to the comments. So this is just
Sure.
like what Square Enix took from our responses. So for additional scenarios and quests, they have implement new stories and quests to help provide additional motivation for playing the game, which true. Whether or not stories and quests are going to provide a lot of motivation by themselves, we'll see. I want to explore new areas that have never been seen before. That's a really big one. The kind of content that, or
Mm.
this kind of content can be played solo, so it's good motivation to start playing the game again. And please create stories that take a more in depth look into the game's setting. So, the big thing that jumps out to me is people have been asking for the lore of the continents that have not been explored for a long, long time. And that would definitely bring a big influx of people back to the game. And that seems like one of the main comments that they've been uh, that they kind of put out. The explore new areas would be huge,
Yeah.
like the
I
Mithrin
mean, I think that
homeland.
like
Mm,
in every MMORPG,
mhm.
they always like do a lot of work before it comes out. They like create this world map that's expansive. And that's the number one because it's the one thing lore wise and like speculation wise that people can grapple onto and say like, oh, look at this whole continent. What is this?
Yeah,
What happens when we go? Like so I think that's pretty common to see. I don't will we ever see a new area added to the game? I don't think so.
I
I don't
remember
know.
when I first started playing again was when COVID was rolling around. And one of the things that I did when I first came back was I listened to the old podcast from Isilis and Rua, and they talked about a lot of like areas that could have been explored. Rua is obviously like
The lore master.
yeah, one of the authorities in understanding some of this stuff. So I always thought it was really interesting to hear him talk about like the Northlands with the
Mm,
The
Gigas.
Orcish Empire.
Yeah, yeah, the Gigas and the Orcs, and then he'd also talk about like the Mithrin homeland and all sorts of stuff like that.
The
yeah.
So
South.
like those are areas that I would absolutely love to see. I think it would add a new area of diversity in the game, but I don't think it's ever going to happen personally.
There's also the Far East with the Tengu Yugudo, which is more Raisenjima Island
Mm,
related.
okay.
Other than those 3, I don't think there are any, like, mentioned heavily in the lore areas that are unexplored.
Yeah.
But I do
Somebody
think,
asked me this on maybe it was Dex. Somebody asked me this on stream like 2 days ago, I feel
I think it was
like
me.
these exact things.
It's
It might have
something
been
on
you.
in my brain a lot, like, but I think, it doesn't have to be, like, this whole huge development cycle, right? Like, I don't mind reskinned zones if they were to do
Mm.
that.
Mhm.
Like, they could do the Escher route and not add a whole new area, just, like, reskin an area.
What if they remade Altepa into a snow zone and made that like the Gigas homeland? I don't know.
Who's gonna know?
Ooh,
No,
yeah,
they're not.
how would they know?
Just like flip it 180, and then people are like, "Wait, I recognize this. What's going
Yeah.
on?" I was saying, like, when the TVR was wrapping up that, the whole concept of, the Galka reincarnation is that the Galka talk about climbing the mountain and then
Mhm.
descending
Mhm.
back the mountain as a child, and I thought it would have been so cool if they made Valhalla a reskin or, like, a chopped up version of North Gustaberg, and they had the big mountain or yeah, it's north, right, with the mountain?
Yeah.
And they coulda just put, like, tons of demons on that map, and
Mhm.
then spawn NMs or something at the top of the mountain, and that could have been that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
I don't
there's
know.
a
I
lot
I
of stuff.
I think that like reskinning zones is kind of it. I don't know. I would rather they just not, versus like I don't know. I would rather see them put that effort into something else
So here's a question,
because it
Higma.
feels lazy. I guess. Yeah,
Would you rather have no new areas or would you rather have reskinned new areas?
I would rather have no new areas.
Okay.
Really?
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah,
because in my mind, accepting a reskin area is a compromise to get a new area at all.
yeah. Because I just like I don't know. I feel like there's already weirdness where there's like two versions of so many zones already.
Oh, like Shadow Rain?
Um, Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
Shadow Rain areas, there's the Esha areas, it's like there's
I
the original areas in some places. Some I don't know. I don't think
yeah.
anything has three, but
I think if
um
they reinvigorated the Shadow Rain areas, that would essentially be like adding a whole new area
yeah.
to the
There's
game.
so many zones, and they're
Yeah.
so underutilized.
Yeah, they just all exist and for nothing.
Or like I mean, I guess the only caveat that okay, here's my adjusted answer is if they did an expansion like an expansion story expansion and it added like Fort Kaguro Naguro,
Mhm.
Grauberg and Vunkrel Inlet, like those passageways to those areas in the current timeline opened up.
Okay,
Ooh.
that'd be interesting. Yeah, Vunkrul is actually how you get to the Mithrin homeland. You didn't know that?
Mm.
I have no
Oh, I
idea.
didn't know that.
No, I'm just making stuff
Fire.
up.
That's a completely different side of the continent
So
of Guam.
the next part is job balance adjustments.
Okay.
And I
This is
find
what
this
I'm
really
interested in.
interesting because the very first episode that we did was the job rankings, and we did the state of the meta episode. But this was pre Hegma, so if you're joining us just for Hegma,
Yeah.
you probably aren't aware of this. We did
We'll just go
exist
back
before
and watch the old
Hegma,
episode. Come on.
and they actually mentioned three jobs specifically that we also mentioned that need a buff. And those jobs
Mhm.
are Ninja Ranger and Beastmaster. While other
Yep.
jobs, which they didn't mention, cough, warrior cough, are relatively overpowered.
Mhm.
Very true. They also said, please replace abilities that are not really used anymore with other more useful abilities instead. And then the
Notice
gameplay
Veritas.
itself has not received any changes in quite some time. So I'd like to see more new elements added to it. And the last one is please make it so that we can more easily access blue magic and puppet sets. I think the
Mm.
last one was a very, very much needed quality of life adjustment.
Yeah.
Well, they already
Yeah.
promised the puppet and blue thing, right? Just the timeline is really long.
Oh, did they? Okay, I haven't heard anything about that.
I thought they promised it.
I I got to tell you, Dex, you are much more in tuned with what is going on with the game than I am.
Well,
I
there's so much information
Yeah.
between forums and whatnot that, like, it's hard to see what's official and
Yeah.
what's not.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't really pay attention to what is official or unofficial, either way.
It has to happen,
Mhm.
right?
Most of the stuff that like I hear about the game comes from you, to be honest.
Aw.
So, I think it would be great to add in some like equip sets for like the puppet, some saved blue magic stuff. And if that is already like decidedly going to happen, then that's fantastic.
The way I replied
Yeah.
to, a survey thing, one of the things I said was, Puppet Master gets, like, this backpack
Mhm.
of attachments as an option, and there should be a lot more jobs that have that, like, why do Beastmasters have jugs? Like, they should get a little
Yeah.
backpack.
Mm.
Why does fishing tackle exist. It should be in a backpack.
Well, yeah. Well, you kind of do. Like, don't all the attachments go into an inventory that is like they don't take up your space, and they kind of do end up like, well, they end up better than jugs, really, because it's like imagine if you put all your Beastmaster jugs into an inventory that you never have to carry around anymore.
Exactly.
Could Beastmaster jugs just be key items?
I think that would be cool. Like, why are they stuck behind crafting and all this other stuff? But yeah, I mean, I think that equipment sets on Puppet Master would go a huge way. That's such a huge cumbersome thing to switch between what your loadout is.
I've just recently did an RP farm for I think our body, and someone went pup tank, and then we pulled it, and he's like, "Oh, I forgot to equip flashbulb," and we just wiped
Yeah.
immediately.
Damn. That's why you don't bring
Um,
pups, I guess.
so aside from that, like, I think the other biggest thing is the job balance stuff, like Ninja, Ranger, Beastmaster. I would throw a couple of Summoner. You know, there's a few other jobs on the list that just aren't as potent or don't get used as much. And I
Beef.
really hope that we see that at some point.
Yep.
Let's see.
Replace abilities that
Yeah.
aren't used more often. What does anybody have any idea of like what are some abilities that fill that gap for
Yeah,
you? Like I
Veritas.
can't think of.
Modus Veritas is a big one. My
Okay.
mind went to Eagle Eye Shot, and it
Right.
can be okay.
Lore.
But what I would like to see is turn Eagle Eye Shot, like merge it with Barrage, so that you shoot an Eagle Eye Shot Barrage, so you do like 500k damage. With that, that'd be great. I'm just making stuff up. I don't know if that would be feasible or not, but I think it would be fun.
I think Azor Lore is the worst SP in the game.
Can you remind me what Azor Lore does?
Azor Lore basically makes it so that it's like Chain Affinity plus Burst Affinity for 30 seconds. It adds a modifier to all of your spells, like it overhauls the modifier. So say like if you cast Synchro Drill's modified like a weapon skill with strength and vit by a certain percentage. It maximizes that, but then it also allows it to skill chain. Or if you do a magical blue spell, it allows it to magic burst. So in practice, it adds like maybe 10% damage to the spells, which is very antiquated. You don't
Okay.
see casting spells physically at all anymore. And it allows them to skill chain or burst for 30 seconds, which is also antiquated. Chain Affinity and Burst Affinity are way antiquated in that they don't allow the blue mage to burst or skill chain at all.
Okay.
And having that aspect tied to an SP is stupid as well. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just blue mage. Like, there's a lot of jobs that have really antiquated job
Right.
abilities.
Charm.
Charm is dumb. Well, take charm out of the picture. Gauge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like Charm to be reworked. I think Charm should no longer be what it is right now. I would like Charm to be like if you run up to a level like 130 bat, like an Apex bat or something like that, and you charm it. I think it should just morph the mob into the equivalent jug pet at that level.
Or like I would love even better. Like I would love to see the like maybe Charm has a shorter duration, but it isn't like a shared pet slot with your jug pet. Like you can have a jug pet, grab a bat, you have a second pet for a minute. You know what I mean?
I have a really
That'd be cool.
unique thing that should just exist in the game for that. If a mob charms a player, if a Beastmaster charms that player, they immediately get uncharmed.
Oh, really?
Oh, that'd be interesting. Like a cancels other charms out.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Pulls them
That'd be
back to
cool.
your side.
Yeah, give Beastmaster a little bit of utility. I've always said that I think Beastmaster should be a more melee-centric Geomancer.
Ooh, like more buff oriented.
Yeah, more buff oriented, more debuff oriented. I think the pets really shine with debuffs, and some of them have some cool buffs too. But I like obviously the slug is very very well known
Yeah.
for debuffing stuff like that. I would like to see jobs like Summoner and Beastmaster shifted more towards support jobs.
If you go down the list of jug pets, there just is not enough variety, and most of them do not have enough moves that do buffs or debuffs.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you see the slug and the leech and whatever so
Mhm.
often, because
Mhm.
they are the ones that have the impactful buffs and debuffs, and everyone else kind of doesn't have anything. The
Yeah.
the Tulfair has a magic defense or defense down,
Mhm.
and the Raz has a gives you like a mighty guard type thing, like with
Yep.
guard and haste,
Yep, the
but
Roz
doesn't
is
get
really
party
nice,
it.
and it gets forgotten a lot. And the sheep also gets forgotten a lot because the
Yeah,
sheep
it
has a
gives
really,
rage.
really strong berserk effect.
But outside of those, I don't think there's really anything else. I'm sure like the Beastmaster enthusiasts will be like, well, this actually gives 200% defense, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It-
those are the main ones.
Regarding something someone said in chat, remove the magic nuke wall. I mean,
Mhm.
you can't really do that, but I think a job adjustment that would be very well liked and needed is changing magic crit so that it can break the damage cap for black
Yeah.
mage, because black
Yep.
mage is kind of an underutilized job. It has all these tiers of magic crit, and magic crit is
Mhm.
one of the worst stats in the game. It doesn't really do
It
anything.
is.
Make it useful.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think Limbus kind of shows it's like a bad version of how you address damage creep, where like every
50
like somebody said, I think Shraj might have been fighting with somebody in the comments or in the chat, but like you have cap damage weapon skills going out. There's no reason to work around a black mage that's doing um cap damage also, but needs all this party coordination and takes longer to prepare, and they have a limited resource of MP and all this other stuff. Um, and Limbus is kind of a half solution to that,
Mhm.
because you can do cap damage nukes and magic bursts in Limbus. Um, well, everybody else is doing a 30k weapon skill because everything's halved. So like you see the damage potential of a nuke, and it would be great to see that like somehow capitalize on in the rest of the game, like allow that, give some incentive to working into that system.
Yeah, absolutely. The a lot of the like party coordination stuff has fallen by the wayside when the melee method has gotten so like out of hand because the gameplay is just faster now. So
you generate TP too quickly, and
yep,
weapon skills do too much damage. Like if you
yep,
think way back in the day, you go to quicksand caves, you pull a beetle, you do 2 weapon skills over the course of like 2 minutes because it takes you that long to get TP, and then the whole time while you're doing that TP and weapon skilling, the black mage is casting freeze, which takes him 20 seconds, like,
Mm,
and then you
yeah,
yeah.
burst it, you win the fight, and then you rinse repeat. Like that's the whole thing. Nowadays,
You
it's
have a
like,
macro that's like starting step 1. Okay, do step 2.
yeah.
Magic burst going off in 5 seconds. Yeah. I love those old school
I mean,
fighting.
it's the game is no longer that slow. Like you
Yeah.
just you gain 1 to 3K TP in under 5 seconds, and then you
Yeah.
pop off a weapon skill that does so much more than the nuke would do in any world.
Hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just one of the functions of the game that made it really, really unique and very interactive, in my opinion. But it's not. It's definitely fallen off
I
with
mean,
age.
I think that skill chains and like you see magic burst strategies that still capitalize on it, but I
Hmm.
think skill chains and magic bursts are one of the coolest elements of Final Fantasy 11, probably one of the most iconic things.
Hmm.
Um and I would love to see them like more better integrated in the future somehow,
The only
but I
time
don't
they
know
really
what that is.
capitalize on skill chaining is like certain ambuscade fights, and I think it'd be
Yeah.
better if coordinated skill chaining was more incentivized for endgame activity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And not in the way that like a Odyssey boss requires it. Oh, you have to hit 3 skill chains in the next 15 seconds to turn off the aura. I think it's just like in a general gameplay way. Like make it so that when I'm playing with another person that we can be like, okay, because like back in the day, like you'd go into a party and the first thing you would do is talk about what your skill chain was going to be.
Right.
And that level of coordination would be cool.
I think from a quality of life standpoint, the biggest issue with how the game functions right now is Square Enix's focus on every activity they put out is punishing the player for doing the
Yeah.
wrong element. So
Mm.
you do the
Yeah.
wrong
Yeah.
element, the whole fight's fucked. It does death. It
Yeah.
goes immune.
Hmm.
It kills you instantly.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You did the wrong element. So players go, okay, we're just not going to do any element. Savage Blade, Savage
Yeah.
Blade, Savage Blade. That's the problem. So instead of doing that, like, don't make it so that it does murder you mode. It just does no damage, and then
Mhm.
you're rewarded for doing the right element, which
Right.
would incentivize skill chaining properly. You could even lean further into it, but I just don't like the whole punishment mentality.
Yeah.
Have a reward mentality.
Yeah, that'd be something nice to see. I'm interested to see how this plays out with the DT in Limbus, because I don't hate that mechanic. I think it might be a good alternative to like rewriting the code because I mean they got to work within the limitations. Um, so I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but I'm hopeful that it helps some stuff out. So the next question we have is let's see, additional battle content. So first comment is there's nothing left or nothing new left to do in the game. So please add new content to help motivate players to return. Yeah, we know that.
We got you,
Yeah.
Limbus.
Please add high level content outside of master trials that will serve as a test of player skills. I think that's
Ooh.
something that we should address. Please add new battle content that can easily be taken on solo or with smaller parties. Those two comments are kind of conflicting. And then the
Mhm.
last one is please add new battle content that can be taken by a large number of players alliances. So what do you guys think about the test of players' skills? Because I gotta say, I don't think most of the population has beaten V25s.
I
No.
agree.
And I think that like it's the same thing for Final Fantasy 14 gets this a lot where like they add these like whatever they're called like the extremely I can't what they're called like the crazy versions of fights.
If it's not
That
exploded, it's something else.
1% of the population does. And it's like I would rather they spend their development time doing something that 50% of the population will do. But yeah, I think that most people haven't explored the test of their skills
Mhm.
to really, I think that that's hard to say that doesn't exist in the game because there's a lot of stuff that people haven't done to your point.
To Shiraj's point, I don't want to see them add more master trials because they're just not attempted. Like,
Yeah.
three groups have beaten August, and I know a lot of groups have tried August, but like
Yeah.
even a lot in air quotes is still like 1% of 1%. This is like the super niche players that find V25s to be like not hard enough,
Mhm.
and that does not represent the player base as a whole at all.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like I would love more fights that are on par, or even maybe even a little bit more difficult. Maybe not too much more, but a little bit
Yeah,
more
V25.
difficult than V25s.
I agree with that.
But there's a big difference between like the V25s and the master trials, and it's not. Well, I mean, the difficulty is one of those things, but the other thing is just the rewards that
Yes.
motivate
Yeah.
people to do it. So if
Oh
you're
yeah. Do you
going
think
to
that
add in
more
more
people would
content.
have done master trials if there was a tangible reward that
Oh,
wasn't lost out?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Hell no.
Shut the fuck up, Trash. I mean, yeah, because you'd actually be rewarded something. I don't
This is
care too
stupid.
much. Oh yeah, what's up?
This is stupid, but what if each master trial you beat unlocked a different category of merits so that you could max out the category?
Ooh.
That'd be interesting.
I think it would be a bad idea. Like, I think it'll be good for the first few master trials when they're actually easy to beat.
Well, the problem
But
is inherently that those later master trials need adjustment.
well, that's the thing. It's like, what if they don't need adjustments and it's just we are the ones that's bad? SE are going to refuse to adjust them, and
So
people are
you're
just going to
saying,
be.
go
I don't
ahead.
know if that's true though. Like when you look at the mechanics, you've done the fights. When you look at the mechanics for chaos and whatever and Wing of War and all these other things, do you think it's because that the player base that it is not good enough to do them or because the fights are ridiculous?
I think it could be a mixture of both. We haven't like there's so much stuff in this game. There's an infinite number of possibilities to test. And even if there was more people doing them, look at Boomba and look at Aminon. Those fights were so hard on the people would not do them. They wouldn't even attempt them. They gave up very quickly and they were just complaining nonstop. The exact same thing would happen with these fights if more people attempted them. And it's just the same people who do the Master Trials now that were doing the V25s on release, doing Aminon.
There's gonna be people that grind it out and find that weird Bumba strat, and then once that is
Yeah, but those
found,
people,
the floodgates open.
yeah, but those people are the same people that are currently already doing the Master Trial, and they
Sure.
can't figure it out. So, like, allowing other people, the non-hardcores, that's not going to do anything except hear more complaints. Because, like, little Timmy, who can do ambuscade on very difficult, is not going to do the Master Trials. You know, they're
Sure,
not good enough. It's
but
just
we
the way
gotta
it is.
Well,
assume
at the
that
same time,
it
I
is
think that
beatable.
there are a lot of people that might might be very skilled players, but have no interest in doing master trials because it's like suffering for nothing.
I mean, I
Um,
have heard that a few times, where like they would do it if there's, and I've seen people who go from that to attempting the Master Trials, and they're getting shit on.
Sure.
I
Like,
do agree that you can't like put something tangible behind it if it's that difficult,
Mhm.
because
yeah,
then it forces everyone to have to do it, even if it's like the most difficult thing in the game.
But I don't think
exactly.
the
I do.
question is asking if they're that difficult. I think the question is asking for tangible content that is challenging, but not Wings of War challenging.
I think Shiraj would agree completely with me in that the V25s for like the hardcore player base are good enough of a challenge, or maybe a little too easy, depending on which one you're talking about. But then like Crystal Paradise is like the right balance of right above that. And that's something that like hardcore players should all go do, because it's a fun challenge and it's very doable. It's something you can prog through and you can learn. Like I just watched Velner complete his run of it, and they started off struggling and they got it down within, I don't know, 10 to 15 attempts. They
Mhm.
it took them time and they learned it and they got it. I think that's the comparable level of challenge that we need to see from like the next level of stuff for people to take under. Not the V25s, but like V25s is a good baseline.
I would agree. I
I
think,
also just think that they can't just be a flex item reward lock style. Like I think that if you want to create something that's challenging that a lot of people participate in, there
and
has to
it
be
needs to give
something
everybody,
beyond
yeah.
something that's just lock style.
Yeah,
But if
if
something is so hard, then it should only have a lock style so that people aren't complaining that it's too hard to get.
beating August unlocked R15 prime weapons, then I bet more people would be interested in doing it.
And I
Mhm.
still promise you there would still be only
Yes.
3 groups who've beaten it.
That's
Beaten it.
fine.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that the data that comes from more people trying and more people experimenting with it is not bad.
Mhm.
I can see both sides of this argument.
But
No,
then
I'm not saying
we
that they
also
should put a
have
V15 augment behind August Master Trial, by
Mhm.
the way. I think that's a terrible idea. But I think that the Master Trial system is just inherently flawed when you're talking about limited development resources
Mhm.
and how do you best incentivize the future of the game. Because if you're trying to sell something to the top 1% or 5%, then you're not going to get the numbers that you need to sustain the game for the next 5 years. You have to make
Absolutely.
something that applies to everybody.
Yeah. I think
I do think
go ahead.
sorry. I do think the Odyssey grind,
Mhm.
as most people will still complain about it, it is a much better way to incentivize people for long-term play, in that weaker players can only get up to 15, but then they get their gear, and then strong players will get the 25s right away, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something that will incentivize people with tangible rewards and progression paths that will unfortunately take a long time to do. Like I still haven't finished all my RP.
Yeah. Yeah, I think too, I don't know. I don't know how to solve this issue, but I think that there's at this age of Odyssey, there's an unfortunate thing where people just want to skip to the end. Um, and I would love to see a better incentive to encourage people to do the progression.
Yeah. I mean, outside of just getting the rewards and moving on, I don't understand the point in skipping to the end of Odyssey. because for all intents and purposes, Odyssey is still the hardest content to do right now. So
Yeah.
there's no reason to not go through it the regular
But I
way.
need my
How
R30 Nyame to do the Bumba fight.
right, and the argument against that I can see and I can see being reasonable is that it's hard to find groups to consistently prog through the content, which I think is fair.
But that's also an aspect of an MMO. Like,
Mhm.
you need to,
Yeah.
like, gather together and meet
Well,
people
yeah.
and then cast someone out and then meet a new person.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
think
the social aspect of the game.
the
I
biggest
think that's
flawed element of Odyssey is that the people remove themselves from the player pool as they complete it.
Mhm.
You know, the fact that once you've done your 30 Naomi, there's literally zero reason, unless you're for some reason you're respecking it. Like, there's no reason to go back and help other people because
Yeah.
you get literally nothing for your effort. That would be, I feel like, an easy fix to like convert that RP into exemplar points or something, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
give it a tangible reason for people to help.
Yeah, as a
Yeah.
quality of life thing, like, the biggest flaw in any of these activities is the lack of repeatability.
Yeah, could you imagine if you like you got V25 Bumba cleared, you R30'd all your Nyame, and then you'd go back and you'd get 5,000 gil from killing it again? That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You joke about that, but I think people would do that.
honestly though, one thing that like there is a lot of people like grouping up for V25s. It's just many of them are scared of leading their group. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
if you try and like group up, there is tons of people who will do it. Like I went back and helped over at least I've redone the V25s at least 10 times now, right? Except Boomba. Boomba can suck a fat one. But
Mhm.
the other ones, like they're fine, you know. And there's so many people who want to join and will keep up for. Maybe that's just because I'm on a server, but yeah,
Well
there's tons of people who will keep for them.
well, Boomba isn't fun, right? Because, like, you
Boomba's just a
when you
terrible
when
fight.
you get to a
Yeah,
level when you get to a level where you've mastered the fights and
it's
you
still
know them
risk.
inside out and you're incredibly geared and they're like, in your mind, they're trivial. If you and the other 5 players all perform perfectly, it's like, "This is a joke, I'm gonna finish with 5 minutes left." Boomba is the exception in that when you are perfect, it's still, a 20% chance that you're gonna fail
Yeah.
or whatever because of the wild card aspect. The strategy is just flawed in that
Mhm.
there's no other way
Yeah.
around it.
Like I was telling Heg yesterday, I think it was Heg. You can beat Boomba V25 with some level of bad RNG, but it still falls down to you need a wild card set. The only
Yeah.
Yeah.
aura, like the only combination of auras that you can't win is magic attack down ×2. You cannot win with, but
I'm
you can
surprised
win. Hmm?
I'm surprised more people don't do a 3 key item strategy where they burn Beastmaster for the first key item to get it 10% down, and then from there they do the melee, then the magic.
Um, most people don't like to waste time on that, which I understand, but yeah, 3 key item is honestly underrated for people who struggle in V25s.
I think all
But
V25s were intended to be 3 key items from the
yeah,
dev
but the
standpoint.
thing is though, even with the current strategy for Blue, there's no difference between a 2 key item and a 3 key item. Because
I
either way,
guess
you're
so.
reliant on the third and fourth posture.
Mhm.
Have not seen a scenario where the third
It
posture
would take
is not
2
needed.
casters. Like,
Yeah, I've
if
never
you
seen that.
Beastmastered and then you were able to get 2 castra kill, then that would be definitely worth pursuing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like I've
it's because you guys didn't use overdrive pub, and I don't know.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Funny enough, why the fuck, like, the whole Bumba thing, I hate that this is, like, a tangent that we're going down. I'm sorry for introducing it, but the whole Bumba thing is, like, he limits his physical damage and then builds up DT immunity, and then he limits his magical damage and builds up DT immunity. Why isn't there a 3rd category? Why isn't there a pet category?
Yeah,
That would kind of, like, solve the whole problem.
why don't we just throw a dragoon and use breath damage the entire time?
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
You
Yeah, go
get you
Brandon.
do a whole key item that's summoner, puppet, beast, dragoon, and you just like
That would be
mess him
sick,
up.
dude, and that would kinda, like,
Yeah.
solve the problem. I don't know.
Okay,
Sorry,
so no,
this was a
it's
tangent.
fine. It's fine. So kind of contradictingly, the next comment was, "Please add new battle content that can be taken on solo by smaller parties." I think they haven't done
Limbus.
anything to actually implement this. But I
Limbus.
think, well,
uh,
yeah, Limbus is one thing, but I think they've
yeah,
also noted that they plan on buffing trusts, right?
Yes,
yeah.
they did.
So I think that could be a way
So
to make maybe not the higher level of Odyssey and Sortie, but at least like some of them more accessible to
Mm.
solo players.
I agree.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that to like Dex just said it, the first, third, and fourth point of this, nothing less to do, add new content,
Mhm.
add new battle content that can be taken on slowly and with smaller parties, and then add new battle content that can be taken on by alliances. All of that is Limbus.
Yeah.
My rebuttal to that
Like,
is almost everything can be sorted.
well, sure, that's what Shiraj speaking.
All right, well, sure. We're gonna put you back in the closet. Um, yeah, yeah. Hegmo solos Sortie every. I mean, no, wait, those are cousins. But I don't know. I it's hard to justify being able to solo content that is designed for 6 or 18 people.
Yeah,
Um, but I do think it's valid to buff trust at this point. I think you should be
Yeah, trust me,
incentivized. You should be incentivized to use trusts more than you should be incentivized to multi-box.
I
but
think
what do you think
I
is a
think trust needs
solution?
to
Like, what?
scale.
How would you buff trusts to make them more viable?
I think
Like,
they
What do
what
you
need an
is
mean?
a
AI
trust
overhaul.
fund? Yeah, that's what I was
AI,
gonna
really?
getting.
Yeah.
honestly, to keep it simple, like I think the quickest and best way to buff trusts is one, make the trust campaign plus permanent.
Okay.
They have too little
Mm,
HP. They have zero DT, so they just die in like 1 or 2 AoE hits, even for normal content, by the way.
Mhm.
And if you could have some way of controlling them, that's like extra. I wouldn't ever expect that, but that's kind of like the cherry on top. That would be amazing. I doubt it'll ever happen. But just you need the trust need to survive, though. They die too quickly.
Yeah.
they need to just port the Final Fantasy XII's Gambit system into the trusts.
Mhm.
Is all they need to do.
Roy Cop had a really good point in our chat,
Heinous just said that. Hell
and
yeah.
he said in my 40s I should not be expected to have 5 friends. And I
True.
can
True.
fully get behind that sentiment because
Yeah,
you guys are the only friends
that's
that I
true.
have, and one of you is on a different server, and the other two play at different times. And
Yeah.
so I can agree with that sentiment. We should not be required to socialize in an MMO. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's valid.
Right. So party finder and buff trusts. Make trusts
Yeah.
comparable to a level 150 mob.
I mean,
And
I
we'll be
think
good.
that it cut if you could improve the AI, and there's never going to be like a perfect solution, but like
Right.
imagine if you could actually not have um Joaquin put up evoker's role all the time. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, give
right.
me Chaos Sam, give me haste, give
You
like,
kinda convinced me, like, I think the AI is the problem. In
yeah.
my mind, I'm, like, thinking of it like they buffed trust once in my lifetime of playing this game,
Mhm.
where they made, like, Val and Ariel OP as fuck, and
Right.
ever since then, like, new players leveling the game, they're like, "I'm invincible. Val and Ariel AoE's everything for me." And, like,
Yeah.
I kinda
Yeah.
don't like that because it takes away the spirit of starting the game again. There's an
Yeah. Well,
argument
I
to be had
mean,
both ways
I've
of
seen
it.
so many people start the game up, they grab Val and they're like, "Oh, wait, I just have this character that one AoE one shots everything." And like you
Exactly.
don't actually learn anything in the first 20
Like,
levels.
I don't like that
Yeah.
aspect of it. Like, I don't want trust to be, like, babying people. I
Mhm.
I want people to level up though, so it's like a catch-22. I want people to have an easier way to get to the end game. I just don't want it to be that stupid.
Yeah.
But if you get to, like I think, one of the key items that you get that levels up the trusts is you have to have, like, all the trusts already and all that shit.
Yeah.
So, I think if they go down that route where, like, established players who've already done the work then go and get their trust leveled up, I think that's a good thing, and I think, leveling them up enough so that they don't get one shot when you pull a fucking V25 is
Mhm.
really helpful. Like, even with max Moogle mastery, which I don't understand why that's a thing,
Mhm.
you'll still get your trust
Yeah.
one shot by a high level vengeance mob.
Yeah, if
And
Moogle
then
One
Mastery meant something, that would be nice. And
but even outside of
wasn't there talk about using like actual gear and being able to equip it on trusts?
kind of treating them like an adventuring fellow.
Oh,
Right,
like
yeah.
adventuring fellows, yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be another layer of like if you could have some way to influence how the trusts respond and behave, like what buffs they're giving you, how they're going to work in a certain fight, and how much survivability they have. I think that would be a big.
This is a wonderful wish list that
Mhm.
unfortunately will just take way too much development.
Right.
But like the concept is so novel and cool. I wish they had some dev dedicated in a closet to building this system over the next
Mm.
year. Like, for example, perfect example. Most people don't have Mombro, I guess, but Mombro, you can go to him and
Mm,
give him vial elixirs, and that
mm.
adjusts what
Yeah.
he does. I think every NPC in the game that is a trust should have a system like that. Like, you can go over
Well,
to
I mean,
Ayane
like, yeah.
and
I
give
think
her
the
a better
dream would
drinking
be
fountain.
an overhauled adventuring fellow kind of thing where like even if you just got one trust, you get one special trust that is your fellow. And like you could literally trade them your secondary, like give them your Rima. You know what I mean? And it would go into storage. It'd become a 4-song bard. And it would basically be like, okay, my trust is set up as a bard.
Right.
So I can fill the bard slot and the warrior slot, and somebody else is like, okay, cool. I have red mage, and my trust is a max potency corsair. Like just like make them another character.
So, yeah, everyone
Would be
gets one
amazing.
trust that's, like,
Yeah,
player level.
yeah.
But looking at what Vice said, by the way, that's literally the perfect thing. Because you can't expect trusts to carry people through mid to end game. It's like trusts, even like trusts just die too quickly, even for the basic content, you
Right.
know,
Mhm.
like it's not good. Like, would it be nice to have some potency increase on like a chaos world or some notches? It would be nice, but even then, it's not expected. Like, you just need trusts to help you through the early stages to when you group up. It's just, I don't know. Because trusts aren't super bad. I'm gonna be honest, right? Trusts are not as bad as people think. It's just their expectations on what they can be used for is too high.
Mhm. Okay. So the next and last topic for the comments that they got was character development. First comment is please add new character development elements in order to help motivate players to return to the game. Second is the experience points penalty for master levels is too strict, so please
Mm.
relax it. Please speed up job master growth rate. I can feel for that one. And change up the gifts that are offered. And the
Hegmo really
last one is please create new exemplar points based campaign offer character development campaigns on a permanent basis. Hmm.
well, they did that, right? 'Cause, this month has been only experience and and,
Yeah.
Is EP part
yeah,
of that?
No.
no, I'm being sarcastic.
Damn, that's crazy.
I mean, I think that I don't know. I don't know if you need new character. I think there's too many character development systems,
I
to be
agree.
honest. I don't think a new system is very helpful unless it's an augmentation of something that exists, like
Yeah.
adding
I
gifts
agree.
to master levels. It's already confusing. It's like, okay, you're explaining to your friend how to progress. You have to hit level 99, and then you switch to gaining merit points, and you need those merit points to progress. But you also need them to put them into invest into your character stats. And then once you hit master level, you're 99, you have all your merit points sent, then you can get your job master. And then after you do that, you get master levels. And it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
need a new system layered on that, but I do need more functionality or rewards from the existing systems. I totally agree.
If
Yeah.
it's not sub jobs, I don't want
I
it. That's
I've said this, like, hand over foot. I want
Mhm.
merits uncapped. I want to be able to put points into every ability. Like, it exists in the game, just let us max it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to Hegmo's point, this job master level grind is excessive, and then you just get, like, an attribute. And in totality, when you zoom out the macro, it is a lot. It's a whole slot of gear or more when you get 50 attributes and 50 skill and yada yada. But it doesn't feel impactful because there's no milestones other than like the rare sub job gain. There's no like cool things to chase. So
Yeah.
adding gifts to it would be appropriate, and
Yeah.
they would tie right in with the idea that got you to master in the first place.
Yeah. I agree.
And then I think that I mean, I think with the EXP campaigns and how frequent they've been recently, like hypothetically, you can, and I have, like you can master a job in 4 hours. You can go to 99 to master in a few hours. So like it's pretty fast, but I also think with master levels now existing, job mastery should be a little bit faster, in my opinion.
Yeah. I would like to see EP point bonuses similar to how there are
Hmm.
capacity point bonuses.
Yeah. And that could be gifts. That's how the gifts
Yeah.
are laid out.
hmm But I mean,
I
other
think
than that, like I can't think of anything other than removing some of the stuff. I don't know. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of wiggle room in the way they built the system.
Yeah.
it's already established. They can't take it away.
hmm
They have to just work with it. Um, I think they've tried to make strides to improving the master level grind. They added Peach Power. Limbus now gives, you know,
Yeah.
not the same as an exemplar point party camp, but like almost. I
Yeah.
think that's a
Yeah.
good step in the right direction, even though Limbus right now is half baked.
hmm
Um,
I mean, I
they've
would
been
love to see like Limbus NMs not only give gear, but also like big
big
point
chunks,
bonuses
Yeah, if
big
they
chunks.
gave
to
like five
exemplar
to
and
ten
stuff. Yeah.
thousand points for an NM
Yeah.
that wasn't like a super long fight, that'd be really cool.
They've added and increased each time when they update Besieged. It gives more and more exemplar points.
Mhm.
I think that's a step in the right direction. It's just, they keep adding these things that give chunks to make it so that you do content, you get exemplar points. They should just do it retroactively to everything else, and that would really solve a lot of the problems.
Yeah.
Playing the game should be rewarding. Just playing.
Yeah.
You guys got anything else for character
Uh,
development?
no,
Okay. So
give us
we're
job
So
mastery gifts.
Give us gifts. Give us max merits. Give us better ways to get to that point.
Mhm. So the next question, and we're getting towards the end here.
Yeah.
So this is actually the last question before the closing comments, and it says, "Which of the following would possibly convince you to turn or return to the game for people that have quit?" There are 11 options. There's
Jesus.
additional battle combat content, sorry, additional quests and scenarios, new character development, job balance adjustments, adjustments to existing content, collaborations with other titles, lower
Oh, here's
monthly
this question. Yeah.
subs, support for game consoles, changes to my lifestyle. 10 is other, and 11 is I don't think I'll return to the game.
Okay. Okay.
Japan must really hate their work-life balance because
I
41%.
mean, have you heard about it?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Japan's number one is changes to my lifestyle.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
and that's like in my
Yeah.
mind the worst option on the list.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, where do you
Yeah.
find time to play Final Fantasy 11 when you're at the office for 12 hours and then you've got to go out after
Mhm.
work for
Drinking.
drinks with your colleagues,
Right.
and then, when you wake up on the street, you have an hour before work, and I guess you
Easy
can play
sortie.
11 then.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
you gotta get the Steam Deck so that you can play
Yeah.
on
Oh,
that,
that's true.
right? Yeah.
Support for consoles. There
Mhm.
you go.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
do think that for the Japanese audience, I think that's a great incentive for them to make things more solo approachable,
Mhm.
even though like it doesn't appeal to me
Yeah.
particularly.
Yeah. I find it interesting that overseas, the lower monthly subscription fees is number 1.
Yeah.
everyone's a
I mean,
multi-boxer.
Yeah, I guess if
well,
you're
I
if you're
mean,
multi-boxing, it can add up, but I don't think the sub fees when you compare it to other modern sub fees like Netflix and shit like that, I don't think the
well,
sub
yeah.
fees are
Well,
crazy.
when you compare Final Fantasy XI's subscription fee, this is a big turn off to a lot of people that I talk to that are thinking about playing the game for the first time, or returning or whatever.
Okay.
I think Final Fantasy 11 is more expensive than World of Warcraft, more expensive than Final Fantasy 14,
Mm,
more expensive. It's like it's one of the more expensive subscriptions to pay, especially when you get into like
Wardrobes,
Mog wardrobes and all the other stuff.
okay.
multiple characters.
Um, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it's about equal to 14 if you buy all returners. So hardcore 14 players probably will be paying the same.
I
Okay.
would
WoW
say that
subscription,
buying all retainers is much less required than buying multiple wardrobes is, though, in 11, in my experience.
I would agree to some extent, but I do think that you can get by with full well,
Hmm.
because we all got by with full wardrobes for a very long time,
Yeah.
you know. So I think it's still doable.
Okay. I think the biggest thing that impacts me, because I've taken quite a few breaks, and honestly, I'm at the point in the game right now that I'll probably keep playing, but I'm kind of like not
Passively.
super, yeah, I'm not very invested. I could see myself taking like a 6 month break and not being like super
Mm.
upset about it or anything like that.
So this
But
podcast is gonna be turning into like we teach Myth what's happening
yeah,
every 2 weeks.
We
yeah,
catch
that's
myth up
fine.
on what happened in the last month.
And I
Yeah.
think that would be great, because then it would give us like a new dynamic where then you guys can just try to sell me back to the game.
You
But
heard
Uh-huh.
it here, folks. Myth is quitting.
Myth is
Jesus,
quitting.
it,
Myth quits Final Fantasy 11
yeah, it wouldn't be the
Live
first time.
on
Um,
due to the survey results. Myth has decided to quit Final Fantasy 11.
you know what
There's your
actually has been the driving thing for me, for the last couple months now to keep playing the game is streaming and making content. That's been a
Mhm.
lot more engaging than actually just like
Yeah.
playing sortie and stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
it
Well,
changed how I interacted with the game
Yeah.
significantly.
from a fundamental standpoint,
Mhm.
streaming and making content is from a place of wanting to help people. And I find in this game, when you help other people, you get much more enjoyment and reward from the game. Like
Mm.
Yeah.
it's just that simple.
Definitely.
I don't know. Off of this list, new battle content is probably the most appealing thing to me.
Mhm.
This
Um,
is on how to get people to come back, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I
for
think
people that quit.
we kind of skimmed over it, but the lowering monthly subscription fee kind of thing,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think for people who don't currently play the game, a lot of them are playing 14 and they want that dual subscription, and it kind of
Yeah.
like ties into that
Okay.
I think
because they did do
in
that,
my
right?
opinion, if there were two things on this list that would make a huge impact on the number of people playing the game,
Mhm.
it would be if there was a current gen console version of the game, because I think that a ton of people that used to play and would like to play would be exposed to the game, and a slightly reduced subscription fee,
Mhm.
whether it's
So like
a
adding this to
COS,
PS5.
yeah, like PlayStation 5, Xbox, whatever. Um, if I think that would add a lot of players, and then also, yeah, like a dual subscription with 14, or even just like a slight reduction,
Mhm.
I think would go a long way for a lot of people.
Could you
Well, in
imagine
I
my
mean,
if
yeah,
mind,
for us, absolutely, McDougal, yes, for us playing the game without. But if you're talking about people that haven't played since Chains of Promathia came out, that want to play through all the story for several months on their PlayStation, like that's a lot of revenue for and they
there's a
might
lot of people.
convert or whatever.
We talked to Vicenarian a few episodes ago, and he played this game strictly to play another titled Final Fantasy, not
yeah.
because he
Yeah,
wanted to play the MMO or whatever. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that would be happy to do that. And if you add this game to more console catalogs, you'll get more players inevitably. If you
Mhm.
reduce the fee of the subscription from whatever 12 to like $7 or $8 or $5, um, I'm happy to see them do that. I just don't want them to lose the money that keeps the lights on, and that's why, like,
mhm.
going back to what I said earlier, I want more things that I can spend my money on in games so that I can
Yeah.
keep
I mean,
supporting the game I love.
this is a totally different conversation that is maybe a like rabbit hole to go down, but like I think you know, we've seen the numbers on like the lowest possible amount of money that Final Fantasy 11 could be making based on subscriptions.
Mhm.
And like, there's no way that they're spending that to keep the lights on. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to padding, executive
Mhm.
profits and like other stuff. And like, it's going towards other game development and whatever else. There's no way that they're not making enough money to maintain the game.
Well, the
Um,
meme when 14 came out was all the 11 funds were going into rebuilding 14, right?
Yeah.
yeah. And so like I think that and there's also like a cost analysis to do where like if it's $12 right now and you have 100 people willing to pay $12, could you get 200 people willing to pay $10?
Mm.
Um the like there's an analysis to do there. And I'm sure they've done that, but maybe not.
I say this like mostly jokingly, but could you imagine if they started like selling bundle subscriptions to like, hey, if you have 6 characters, you get to pay
Oh
eight
god.
dollars a month for
I mean, I think that if they really wanted to make a shitload of money, they
yeah.
would add story skips
Mhm.
the way you buy the whole collection is $30 and for $150 you get the whole collection. You're level 99, 119 and you have all stories complete or something like that.
Yeah.
People would pay for that and then they would just say multi-boxing is okay, here's your bundled subscription offer. and
This needs to be
and
said. If
yeah.
you do that, they need to really overhaul the special task force because you know how many RMT will buy like the
Mm,
I'm level 99 and just like go
yeah.
around and
Yeah.
farm kill.
Yeah, just buy a doji off the store and then go out and start Jinpoing in Bibuki Bay. Yeah.
But that's if
Um,
they wanted to just make a shitload of money really fast, sure.
mhm.
And then add a Vana'diel token into the mix for subscription fees.
I
I do think
mhm.
when I say the whole money thing, I just think there's avenues where they're not milking us, and it's really sad to say, but, like, they could be milking us, especially the whales in this game, because most people who play this game still to this day are just like, "We're here for the long haul, don't matter."
Yeah.
So, they could be making more money, and yeah, you're right. I doubt I doubt even a minority of that money would go towards the game. It would go
Mhm.
back
Yeah.
into the game. But, like, I'd like to hope that some of it does, and then that
I
would
mean,
influence them to, like,
yeah.
make more money off the game and promote it
I
more.
I am surprised that they haven't done anything to add a cosmetic cash shop to 11.
Yeah.
That's especially when we know that there's like play online verified optional items that you can purchase like Mog wardrobes, like
Why don't they
um
sell the, Rainbow Mogpel? Sell it.
yeah. Um they could put I think that like stuff that is like as a fundamental aspect of cash shops, I think anything that is progression oriented is should be off limits, but like cosmetic stuff is such low hanging fruit and could generate a lot of revenue for them, but I don't know.
On
It's weird to me.
on the topic
There
of
will be
revenue and bringing like more money in by getting players to return, I think that would go a lot further in increasing the revenue and increasing subscriptions than adding new stories and storylines would.
you're
I
not
Mm,
wrong.
I especially the state that the stories are in. If they dropped a new expansion right now, you're not going to get a lot of new players coming in and being like, "Oh yeah, let me just power through these 9 other expansions so I can do the new one."
yeah, true. Well,
Um,
you might get a lot of returning players. I think
you'll get some
if they
returning
dropped
players.
a new continent
Mhm.
with like all new areas and like a whole expansive number of stories and quests,
Yeah,
and they added like one new job, I think that you would have a ton of returning players.
that's a big that's a big investment though. And I think
Yeah,
there's a difference
absolutely.
between like adding a TVR storyline and what you're talking about right
Yeah,
now. If they add
yeah.
another TVR storyline, which is kind of more the direction that I was thinking of, I don't think we're going to see a big
Oh
return
no, no,
for
no,
that.
no.
Well, if the
Well, I mean,
narrative
that being
continues to
said,
be now is the best time to play Final Fantasy
yeah.
11, it's
Yeah.
growing, it's surging, like, then you will inevitably get people, and they will stick around for the long grind. But I think the elephant in the room that we haven't touched on that would be like the biggest surge of new players is creating an old school cap server.
Oh, classical
You think
server.
that you think that would be you think that a level 75 cap server, official level 75 cap server would be a more of a draw than a new expansion?
That was mentioned
Uh,
in this. It wasn't one of the options, but it says,
it was mentioned in the server.
yeah, it says, overseas, the second most popular reply was other. As we looked into the reasons behind this answer, we discovered that many of them wanted the game to create a FFXI classic server that would recreate
Mm,
the game as it was during its level 75 era. This response echoes that of many similar requests that have come from North American players for quite some time now. And that's
So the
from
reason I
the
say
server.
that
Mhm.
is like consider how many people play on private servers. There's a
yeah.
plethora of private servers. Um, and whenever a new one pops up, it surges in popularity. You get like 2 to 4,000 players on it actively. That's just revenue loss
Yeah.
for Square Enix.
Hmm.
And
Do
there's
you
this
think
whole
that
go ahead.
do you think that that's because it's level 75 cap or because it's free?
There
I
is
think
a
it's
free
both.
aspect,
Yeah.
but it's both.
Mhm.
It's definitely
Mm,
both. I think if they added a classic server at a reduced cost, right?
Mhm.
You'll get tons of people.
Yeah,
They
anecdotally,
don't even
I
have
have heard people say, "I was playing on, like, Horizon or whatever classic server, but that's because I couldn't afford a sub, and now I'm back at retail."
yeah.
But whether or not that's a large number of people, I have no idea.
listen, I can speak from my perspective.
Mhm.
I might be a minority in this. I don't play private servers because I do not trust those people that manage them.
I
I don't
agree.
trust the
Mm,
game masters. I don't
Mhm.
trust any of that shit. And
Mhm.
I don't like how custom they've made the game. If I were to play the game, I want it to play how it was,
Mhm.
and
yeah.
I could like do it at my own pace and enjoy it as a nostalgia trip. And
Yeah.
then I could
Yeah.
leave and come back to the main game and do what I want
Well,
to
that's
do.
why I think the World of Warcraft classic model, it's it's just it's not a lesser subscription fee because this is how you funnel people, right? Like you don't make it a separate subscription. You put it as part of the core subscription. So if you
So you can
subscribe to Final
bundle.
Fantasy 11, you can also log into Final Fantasy 11 Classic. Because then you funnel people. When people get
Mhm.
inevitably bored of
They'll have
Final
both.
Fantasy 11 Classic, they're like, "Oh, well, maybe I will make a character on the full server and just see
Try
what
it
it's
out.
like." And then,
See the difference.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I'll never get bored of camping Fafnir for $36.
Well, you know what? I think the conception because I've popped in the chat of a lot of uh, why can't I remember the server name? Horizon.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
popped in the chat of a lot of Horizon streamers, and I'm like, oh, I play retail, but I like to watch you guys from here and there and see what's different.
Mhm.
And all the time, they will comment on their perception of retail 11, and they're
Mhm.
completely off.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have no
Yeah.
idea. So, like,
It's
if
like a weird
you were to
propaganda
bundle
thing
it,
where
you'd kind of
there's
enlighten
like misinformation spread
Mhm.
about what's going on, I think.
Oh, like, just the other day, I popped in I think, Velner ended his stream, and I popped into a Horizon streamer, and I was just hanging out and saying hi and watching him do stuff.
Mhm.
And, someone said, "Oh, on retail, like, you get infinite gil. You just spend sparks and everyone has gil cap." I was like, "That is not how that
Mhm.
works, and they
Yeah.
patched that a long time ago." Like,
Yeah.
where are you getting this information?
Oh, man. I wish I had Capgill. And I think to your point earlier, the private servers can definitely be kind of sus. I don't know if you guys remember the FFXI drama Reddit, but like
Mhm.
99% of those posts were just like completely unhinged, and they were mostly about like private server stuff going on.
It's like
Yeah,
the GMs are corrupt, the people running the
yeah.
servers are corrupt, they give certain players special treatment,
Yeah.
they give
Mhm.
players
Well, I
gil,
mean,
they
it's
all this shit.
inevitable. It's like when you're not a company that's
Hmm.
like, responsible for, paying bills and stuff like that and like, maintaining a game with a reputation, like how are most link shells in any MMO run or any guild in any MMO? It's
Incentivized.
corruption from the top down,
Right.
Yep.
like
Like people were getting
uh
doxxed, people were getting
yeah.
accused of like SA stuff. Like it was out of control. some
Oh,
of
the
the
other
stuff you guys
problem
are
was,
doing.
like, when you're subscribing to these private servers, you're
Mhm.
giving them your information to subscribe, and they were using that on some people too, which is also fucked up.
Jeez.
But,
Yeah, I
to
heard
my
I heard
point,
some from people that I trust and I respect. I've heard negative things about certain private servers, and it's made me not want to do it. But my main reason is that like I love this game, as much as I can complain about it often or, whatever. I do love this game. I've played it for most of my life at this point. And I want to support the people that made it, whether
exactly.
that's, whatever that
Mhm.
means.
Yeah, to my point, like, I don't feel comfortable playing on a private server, but if Square Enix offered the option, I would definitely dabble in it. Would it be
Yeah.
my main mode of play? No, but some
Yeah,
people
no.
would, and I think
Yeah.
But I
that
mean, like,
option being missing is a problem.
imagine how cool it would be if, like, you take over and I think I can't remember if Myth or Siraj or Dex said something about camping H&Ms.
Mhm.
Um, like, imagine if you could, there was some like seamless swapping where like you could be doing an exemplar point farm and you get a notification that your link shell leader's like, hey, Fafnir's up, and you could just like
Yeah.
swap into your classic character
Yeah.
and
And then
go
run
do
45
Fafnir.
minutes to Dragon's Area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. No, that
Playing on private servers made me miss retail, so I came back and stayed. Private was fun for a little bit,
Mhm.
but was not a long-term solution. Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of people.
Mhm.
Like, and I think that that's like what we're saying about how a classic server really could work in an official standpoint is that it introduces somebody back into the game, and then they're able to like compare and contrast the retail modern experience with the classic experience, and then make a decision on where they want to stay.
I do think what you said earlier in that the dual subscription is kind of paramount to that success.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Pay for one
Well, I mean,
sub,
again,
get
like, yeah.
access to a classic character and then a non-classic character.
And then, like, you take that one step further and imagine if that your combined subscription included 14, 11, and 11 classic, and then you're like, you would always be playing a Final Fantasy MMORPG, and
Well, they
there'd be
kind
no
of
way to
tried
leave.
to do that, right? They said 14 players can access 11, but not vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did when if I remember correctly, when 14 first came out, they tried to funnel people over by doing a dual subscription.
Mhm.
Back in like 1.0 era, and then they did this campaign twice now, I think, with the raid series that's going on. I think they're trying to capitalize on interest in 11, and they're offering a discount subscription to 11 for new players that currently play 14. The problem is it's a worse deal than just getting the discount campaign
Yeah,
copy and playing 11.
I think they
So I think
fumbled a
that
little bit on that.
it's an interesting like attempt, and it's an interesting signal, but I think that if they really want people to play, they need to be more aggressive in what they're offering.
Yeah. Um, so the closing comments here basically just
Mhm.
says, "Hey, thanks for the info. This is we've done surveys like this before, but this is the first time we gave you guys the information because
Mm.
to me it's just a flat new direction that the game is going, and I think that has been pretty apparent ever since Fujito took over. Through
Yeah.
the survey, through the actions he's taken, through how the content looks different, more and more quality of life stuff has been emerging recently than before. The the new content has shifted from high end players to being more accessible to early end game to mid end game stuff, and they just said thanks for your cooperation and we hope you guys keep enjoying Final Fantasy 11. You guys have
I must
any?
say, like,
Mhm.
since he's taken over, we play this game so much and at such a deep level that we'll always have something to say negative about
Yeah.
an experience
Oh
because
yeah.
we have the perception to see how it can be improved, right? But it's not to like detriment their efforts. I really think he's doing a great job and he has a passion for this game, and I want to
Yeah.
see it get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's my number one takeaway with the new director, but also just like from this survey. If you look at everything that's been done, even in the past year, everything that's been done in Final Fantasy 11, it's such a huge indication that like it's not on quote maintenance mode. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like they're trying new things, they're implementing new content, they're changing up the delivery of stuff, they're surveying the players, they're immediately implementing responses that are reflective of the responses that they got for the survey. It's all been pretty great, especially and like I think the previous director and was great in a lot of ways, but it's great to see that new energy really being apparent in how they're developing.
Mhm. The one thing I hope to see that I don't expect to is more blatant job adjustments like they were doing
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
like 2019 or so.
hmm
That's what
I
I'd like to see.
I if we get another big announcement that job adjustments are coming,
Mhm.
and that's when they release +5 artifact and relic, and they're like, yeah, we adjusted the jobs by giving you more gear. Like that's not what we're talking about. We need
Yeah,
we
yeah,
need fundamental changes to how these jobs function.
yeah. Give
Because that was the whole thing. They like hyped up job adjustments coming, and then they were like Empyrean +2 and 3, and I'm like, that's not a job
Oh,
adjustment. That's
Mhm.
gear.
Yeah. Is there anything other than the stuff that we talked about that you guys would like to see in the future? Or quality of life adjustments, where the game should be going, what you'd like to see from Limbus, whatever, any of that stuff.
Mm. I mean, I think we all have opinions on Limits just because it's such a
It's
drag
perfect
right
because it's
now.
really, really good.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I
It's
don't want to see
perfect.
any Olympus changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I would say that's contrast to what we've experienced so far,
Mhm.
what we've just been talking about, is that like I would love to see slightly more transparency in terms of
Okay.
like that's my biggest complaint with Limbus is that we have no idea what we're supposed to do. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like we're just grinding shitty amounts of like how much would it suck if there's two things that can happen. One, and they're on the opposite ends of the spectrum. One, you get to whenever Limbus updates and they're like, surprise, you should have been doing 5 chests a day and now you're behind, and now you can't access the new stuff because your cap's not high enough. That would suck. The other side would be the NMs come out and they're like, surprise, every NM you kill increases your cap by 10,000. Like, and like all the work that you've been doing was totally meaningless. So the fact that we don't know what the content's gonna be makes it much more painful to do right now, no matter what
So
the outcome is.
Here
I
is a
I hear
quality of
you.
life adjustment that is more important than anything we've talked about.
Mhm.
Um, to your point, Hegmo, any game I've ever played where the dev team communicated to its player base has been
Mhm.
a much more better and
Yeah.
all-encompassing experience. So the biggest change that I do not understand why they do the freshly picked and the little podcast thing that they do once every
Yeah.
month in Japanese only. Why
Yeah.
is there no translation? Why is there no simulcast? It's like they've acknowledged that overseas is a massive part of their player base. Yet when they discuss what they plans and what they are going to do,
Yeah.
they don't care about us. Like
Mm.
Right.
communicate with us too.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, we are second class players. So if your ping is higher than the ping that they get in Japan, you're just not as
True.
important.
True,
We
true,
joke
true.
about the whole Japan first thing, like their servers,
Yeah.
the JP button joke, the whole stupid stuff. But
Mhm.
like from a realistic standpoint, if they release that video and then release a translated version for their EU server or their EU, their NA, their servers on their
Mhm.
YouTube channel, that would go a long way just so that we know
Yeah.
what's going on and we don't have to like use rough Google translations and argue over
To,
the
like,
forums
guess
of
what's
what's
gonna
going
happen, yeah.
on. It's frustrating. I really just want to like know what they want to do.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm not as
Uh,
upset about them not communicating for Limbus in particular. I mostly because historically I don't think that's ever been a thing. I get the frustration, I get wanting to know what's coming next, but I think of I mean let's put it in a different context. Tegmo, have you finished all of Odyssey stuff yet?
no.
Do you feel like you're super behind and you can't do it
I
anymore?
mean, I mean, partially, yeah.
You okay, but do you feel like you can't do it anymore? You can't keep continuing to like work on that?
I mean, I think that in to a degree, I feel like I've missed a lot of my opportunity to do it.
Okay. So if that's the case, then that applies for like all the content that people weren't here for, like when it came out,
Until
right?
they add a bridge that skips or eases it, right?
Yeah. So
So, hey, like, you're kinda saying, like, because you didn't do it when it was fresh, that you no longer
Yeah,
have
well, I mean, I
opportunity
think that
to
it's like
players?
because of the way Odyssey's designed, like we were talking about earlier,
mhm,
like the paramount, the peak of excitement for doing Odyssey content and struggling through difficult fights was when it came out. And then the peak of the like player pool was when it came out and before all the people removed themselves from that pool by completing it. So like, there's just fewer people that are open to doing Odyssey and progressing Odyssey because they've done it already and it's no longer new.
Yeah, and that goes back to, like, every piece of content should have, a drive for people to repeat.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think like Dynamis does a good balance of it. Like I still look forward to doing Dynamis because I get something out of it, even if I'm not,
Currency
trying to do the unlock.
or unlocking other jobs, but yeah,
Yeah.
currency mainly.
Yeah. I mean,
I
personally, I cleared all the V25s maybe a year, probably a little over a year, maybe even 2 years after they came out, because I was on a break when they came out. And while it was hard trying to find people, I didn't feel like I was necessarily behind because like we've talked about before, the majority of the people that are playing the game haven't cleared that content. There's always going to
Yeah.
be an influx of people that are trying to do it. Whether or not they're easily accessible to you doesn't necessarily indicate that a lot of people have done the content or don't want
Mm.
to do it.
Yeah.
But I
I
can
mean, I
see
just,
the
yeah.
the bias there, or the like immediate indication that it's harder to get into. Like even when I was doing it, it was hard to find people that I trusted to do the stuff.
Right. But yeah, I still just think that like the, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I was going to go with that. But either way, I don't know. I would like for more clarity on
Yeah,
what the path is.
yeah. Personally, I'm not really doing Limbus. Maybe like once a month when I'm in that rare mood where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go do
Yeah.
some Limbus. I'll do it, but I'm really not concerned about being behind at all.
Yeah.
But I guess
Yeah, I mean, I guess it
maybe
just
I'll live to
depends,
eat
like
those
from
words.
yeah, like if Limbus comes out, I think the fear, I guess, the fear,
Mhm,
the issue is that if Limbus NMs come out in September, right?
mhm,
And like in order to get your plus 5 gear, it's 100,000 Temenos points. And you're like, well, shit. Now I have to grind for 3 months before I can even get a plus 5 piece.
or
Like
it's
that's not
50K
that's not
units
super fun.
to buy
Yeah.
a key item to fight Ultimate
Yeah.
Omega.
mm.
It's just
And then you're
frustrating because
you're
you don't know.
it's frustrating because like I could have been doing it and I didn't because the content was boring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't know that would be a requirement.
Okay, that's fair. So I think the moral of the story is spend 4+ hours a day making sure that you
Yeah.
do every piece of
Exactly.
content, and and don't ever quit, because if you
Yeah.
do, you'll
You
be
could be behind.
yeah, it'll be disaster.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, and I think that, the message, I guess, isn't because I'm not going to do that, right? 100%. I will
Sure.
not be doing Limbus 5 chess. I did it the first week and I won't do it.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I think the request I think I have is that I wish that like when they released Limbus, they were like, okay, here's our roadmap for Limbus. This is part one, and this is coming out now. Part two is going to come out Q4 2025,
Mhm.
and it's going to add NMs. And here's a rough outline of what we think the NM system is going to be. Like that's all I want. You know what I mean? I don't need like the loot tables and all the specific things. Like I just want to know what I should be expected to have done by the time we get there.
Okay. So just make sure that you're R30 everything,
Hmm.
and then
Okay, good.
yeah. Well, I mean, you're already like well on your way to being pretty much maxed gear. You have stage 5, for God's sake. You have all your Imperium +3. But I don't know. We'll see
Mhm.
how the game goes. I'm excited to see
Magnolia's
Yeah.
new.
what they do. Boys, that's all I have for the day. You have anything else you want to discuss before we wrap it up?
I
There
do,
was
but
one oh,
oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was gonna say there was one comment from the chat. Natalie said, as a player blah, coming back for Limbus after 2 years, I feel like the new director doesn't know Final Fantasy 11 that well and has failed with Limbus and Vanabelle.
Hmm.
What do you think about that? Limbus is
Um,
very boring, and I hope adjustments come. Yeah,
the problem is I see what they were trying to do, and it didn't land on its feet. But
yeah,
the attempt was valid and novel, right? So um Limbus isn't intended to be the next thing for like end game players to do.
Mhm.
It's intended to be the bridge for people who don't complete the Odyssey grind and
mm,
still need to get like their way up so that they can attempt it. Um, Limbus is easily accessible. You can adjust the level. You can go in whenever by yourself. You can go in with a group. You can do one wing of it and then leave and then come back
yeah,
and tackle more of it later. You're not
right,
tied to a time frame. You're not tied to an hour of it once a day, once a week.
Mhm.
You can do it at your own pace with trusts.
yeah,
Not that many trusts because of, I'm assuming, zone limitations, but
right.
you get the
They don't
point.
want they don't want another domain invasion where
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
load anything because there's so many trusts in the zone.
And it rewards exemplar points,
Yeah,
so, it helps people who are
yeah.
shit or under-leveled or whatever,
I
like, start to get there.
I have a kind of hot take on Limbus, and I want to know if you guys would agree or not. I would rather that we didn't have Limbus yet, and
I
that
agree.
Limbus comes
Half-baked.
out in full in October or November or whenever, instead of getting the bare minimum part of Limbus to say that they released it on the schedule they initially
I
did.
agree 100%. It's
Yeah,
half-baked in its current iteration, and it just makes the players who are at level or gear cap or excited for the next thing because they've already done the old things, like, dissatisfied and upset
yeah.
with its iteration.
I just feel like I don't think you're wrong. I want to say that to start this
Mhm.
off. But I think if you say that, you have to apply that to every other piece of content that they've done the exact same thing with. So like I'm not upset that they did the same thing with Odyssey. So I'm not
They
Yeah.
didn't,
upset
though.
right now. Didn't
I don't
they?
think Odyssey is accessible to players in the same way that Limbus is in any way.
Well, no, no, no. When they were rolling out Odyssey, all it was Sheol A, B, C.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
Shield
Nobody,
A
you mean the
with no
yeah,
beastman circles or whatever,
yeah,
and
okay,
like
you meant
yeah,
the other aspect of the conversation,
yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
I see,
So
the rollout.
like don't get me wrong, would a complete piece of content be more fun? Yes. But when have they ever done that when it's not linked to an expansion?
Yeah, they
mm,
always drip feed. You're right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
won't.
yeah. And like
So
Sortie was the same way. Like Sortie came out,
We only got
it was
right,
just
upstairs.
upper floor. Yeah,
right. So I mean, like, because of that, like, I'm not upset. In fact, I'm confused why people are upset because
mm,
I look at it like we had got Sortie 3 years ago, and we had absolutely nothing for 2.5 years until we got Limbus a couple months ago. And now
yeah,
people are complaining that we got new content and upgrades. Every everything
I'd
that
say the
everything that I said in the Limbus video, like I still maintain. I
mhm.
my like idea of Limbus, is it repetitive? Is it boring? Has it soured a little bit? Yeah, it is repetitive. It is boring. But then again, it's fucking mid-level content. So I don't care that much.
I agree with your
You-
assessment. It's just, I think the sentiment behind, like, I want more now rather than
Right.
having to do the garbage now and wait,
Mhm.
I think that blooms from the fact, like, we're focusing on the wrong aspect. This sentiment builds because you're required to do so much of it.
Mm.
yeah,
I think if you
Yeah.
got 5,000 from every chest instead of sometimes you got 3,000 and everyone gets
Mhm.
upset. I
Yeah,
think if
the
you
5
didn't
and
have to do 5
3,000
chests,
disparity is weird. That's
it's really dumb.
yeah, I don't like
I
that.
think if you didn't have to do 5 chests per zone, I
Mm.
think if it wasn't
Right.
25 floors.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is that like Odyssey, even when it was just Shield A, is 30 minutes a day.
Mhm.
If you want to do both Temenos and Apollyon 5
It's
out of
at
5
least 10 hours
chests,
a week.
yeah,
So
it's
so question for you guys. Are you doing it because you have to, or are you guys doing it because you're obsessive compulsive over this content?
I'm doing it
it's
because
more
I don't
obsessive compulsive.
know. Well, it's a little bit of that, yeah. I'm doing it mostly because I don't.
Right.
I want to get all my stuff right away, and
Yeah.
there isn't a lot of stuff in the game.
Yeah, it's
But
fair.
B, I the fact that you get the 3K boost and it doesn't have a cap, or they haven't stated a cap,
Mhm.
I don't wanna be it's FOMO. I don't want
Yeah.
to be left
Yeah,
behind
exactly.
in the next update when there's some, like, new
What?
thing, and then I'm months behind because I didn't do my 15K upgrades
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any insight into what the Japanese community thinks about Limbus? Because, like, looking at the survey results where you say, like, they play less than an hour a day and they play maybe log in once a week, like,
What
are
minor
they
insight I have is kinda mirroring what we're saying because I
Yeah.
remember, someone linking, like, Twitter posts from Japanese players, and some were, like, reporting where the question marks were spawning,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then a lot of people would comment under that post and complain about how much you had to do of it and
Mm,
Mhm.
how
So
it
here's
didn't
my
make sense.
prediction for Limbus. I think that the point system as it is designed to soak up people's time right now because they need a couple months, maybe longer, to get their NM system rolling. I think this was an
yeah.
intentional thing, and I think once the NM system is rolling, I think it's going to be easier. It's
I
going to
mean,
be
it'll be
just like
like,
sortie. It's going to be just like sortie
just like
where
Sortie, where
yeah,
we were grinding for
right.
a whole week to get 80,000 points
Yep.
to do a single upgrade.
Mhm.
And then now it's like, oh yeah, you get 80,000 points in a day. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
So, players like us who are doing it every day will have a head start, but
Yeah.
then
Yeah, but I think it'll even
I
out,
get
like,
that.
over time.
do
I
you,
think
so you,
historically,
I
that's how
think,
the game has been.
yeah. One more Limbus question, and you guys both said this separately. Do you think that Limbus is mid level content, or do you think that the intention is that once NMs will come out and everything, it's going to be a legitimate end game activity?
My prediction is that Ultima and Omega will not be as hard as V25s and will be accessible for an alliance to do
Mm,
very easily. Whereas, like, maybe if you have only 6 people, it might be quite a challenge.
Yeah. So there's a disparity in the game right now. Even with the new +4 stuff, there's still a disparity between the people that are doing older content like Omen and Dynamis, and then there's a big jump to Odyssey and Sortie.
yeah,
Especially because as you've said, it's harder to get through the Odyssey climb because of the
yeah,
lack of player pool, right? So because you don't have that gradual progress, you're not going from V0 to V5 to V10, etc. This is a way that they bridge that gap, and I think that's
Yeah.
a great way to do it.
A
yeah.
new player that has no access to Nyame, but now has 2 more slots of 12% weapon skill damage with better accuracy and attack,
Yep.
that's very valid. It helps them, improve their DPS, it lets them
Yeah.
kind of compare themselves to other players that have done the grind.
I honestly wouldn't be mad if we didn't get +5 artifact in Relic.
Me either. I really I hate saying this. I hope Ultima and Omega do not give something that is related to +5. I want,
I
like,
want homum,
their
Oh
own
yeah, I hope.
I want
Yeah,
accessories, I want
I think that there
the
should
eye
be almost
level
like Omen.
loquacious earring, I want
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit. Yeah. That'd be
I
dope.
think that I hope my hope is that Limbus loot is like Omen,
Mhm.
where like you might get a Omen or like a Ultima or Omega like four leg or whatever, and that's used to reforge.
Mhm.
But he also drops your Ashera harness and your Utu grip and your Nikma, like all these great drops that aren't set related.
Yeah.
I hope that there's specific loot, and then there's also loot that you get
Don't make
in
it so
conjunction
that
with it.
you take an alliance to Omega you get him to 25%, and then a paladin kites him around for 1 hour while you farm gun pods from units.
I would like that. Yeah, sounds fun.
Every gun pod you kill drops 1,000 units, and people just farm them for hours.
Let's actually
yeah.
bring back the 75 era Kieran strat.
Just
Two
boosting.
Kite up into the great
alliances.
sandstorm,
Yeah, 2 alliances, or like a ranger and like
outside boost and
monks and
outside
Sam.
rotate.
Yeah, exactly. I like that a lot. Mhm.
Except boost is broken now. It'd be it
It's
doesn't
also
affect chi
meditate.
blast anymore.
Yeah. So like in my perfect world, we get in the next 2 years, we get completed Limbus with floor
Each.
NMs and Ultima Omega. And then we also get Dynamis Dreamland
I
Ooh,
would
I'd
love
like
to do
Dynamis
Dynamis
Dreamland.
Divergence.
Yeah.
New Dynamis
So
Divergence would be
Dreamland
cool.
is what? Kufim, Valkurm, Booberimbu, and then ultimately Tavnasia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dreamlands and also the obviously like the
Northlands?
yeah, Northlands.
Butadine and
Zarkabard, like just all Divergence, everything.
Yeah. Just finish the Dynamis zones. Give
That's
us
6 zones.
a little variety. Even if
lot.
it's not all 6, just like, 2 or 3 I'd be fine with. For now.
I think Dreamlands is better
I
than
think it'd
Northlands
be
because it's 3 that lead into 1.
I think
But
it'd be cool if they maybe instead of like doing you know, you basically make 2 more Dynamis things,
Mhm.
and it's like Dynamis Northlands, and you do Bucine Glacier, and then you zone in to wave 3 as Zarkabard.
Mhm.
Could be
ooh,
cool instead of making those 2 separate zones.
Mhm.
And you could maybe do the same thing with like with the Dreamland stuff, where it's like you do wave 1, 2, and 3 are Kufum, Buberimu, and Valkurm, and then you end in Tavnasia.
Yeah.
Would be fun.
Make the Dynamis the next step in the bridge content. Make it a little bit harder than the current wave 3
Yeah.
stuff. But not quite as difficult as like V20 plus, etc.
in the 75 era,
Mhm.
the Dynamis Dreamland zones, the 4 that we're talking about, were
Mhm.
added after the fact. And what they did was they had like sections of the map with family camps.
Mhm.
Some rewarded, the same gear that the older Dynamis zones rewarded, and then other sections rewarded new materials such as accessories for the job, belts, earrings,
Yeah.
ammo, whatever, as well as materials to +1 that gear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you take that concept and you apply it to the current game, like the initial wave in the zone can reward like all the stuff from the entirety of a Dynazone that you've already done, and then the later waves can reward like currency from other activities.
That's what
That'd
I
be
would
cool.
like to see. But
Yeah, I would love to see the expansion of Divergence. That'd be nice. You know what else I would like to see? When we're talking about that, I would like to see Beastman models. So like I'm sick of seeing vanilla orcs, Yagudos, and Kadavs. Can we like mix in some of the cool
Shadow Rain stuff.
Shadow Rain
Yeah.
armor
I
sets and
love
stuff?
seeing Yaguda with horns, the samurai ones. They're so
Yeah.
cool.
Where give me my full plate Kadav. They're
Yeah.
so cool.
That'd be
I want to
nice.
see more of those like golden helmet orcs.
Yeah.
There's a couple mob types in Shadowrain that we don't see nearly enough of. Like
They're
the
like
wolves.
werewolves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those things are really cool.
Gnolls.
Gnolls, there you go.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple other ones too, but there's some good mob types. Bring back fairies, so that Dex can get full dispelled more. And then
Die in a fire.
Okay, guys.
If we're talking about
Yeah.
zones
Mhm.
like Shadowrain, I think one of the main things that the game is lacking right now is like variety
Okay.
and utilization of old areas.
Yeah.
Because there's so many assets in this game that just are completely forgotten to the wayside.
Yeah.
Zones like Carpenter's Landing would be great
Well,
locations for
that's
more locust camps.
that's the exact impetus behind making us go do fishing on the boat in
I think that's
between
the right
so
I think that's the right idea with the wrong execution.
yeah.
I think it might not be as much of a problem on your server, Hegmo, but like
Yeah.
we need more locust camps. There should
Yeah.
be more variety and
Mhm.
more locales. Like if you add 10 more locations that have locust camps,
Mhm.
suddenly like the problem of a camp being overcrowded, it doesn't
Right.
exist anymore.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it'd be fun to like have more variability for different, if you're leveling monk or you're
There
leveling,
should be more skeleton
You
camps or
know,
more
let
block.
me let me segue or use this as a
I
chance
know
to segue
Myth
a
has
little
been
bit.
trying to end
No, no,
the
no. Actually,
podcast for like
actually, I
2 hours
forgot.
now.
I do want to talk about one more thing, and
No,
I
we
think
do.
Steve's
We do have to
segueing
talk
into the
about
right
one more
thing.
thing. And
Yeah. Ashura?
yeah, 10 minutes ago, or I guess not 10 minutes ago, fucking a week ago, before they
Oh, okay.
closed Azura, I would have said that if you added more locust camps, you would have just seen an influx of more bots. But now
Mhm.
Azura is closed.
Oh,
Pool's
yeah.
closed,
The
kids.
pool is
No one's
closed,
allowed.
and nobody can make new characters on Azura.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I saw that
think this is a
somebody
marketing tool.
posted, is this a bug or is this intended? Somebody said that even with an
Mhm.
active character on Ashura, they couldn't create a new mule.
I
Ooh,
think that's a bug
that's
because
not
didn't they
supposed to happen.
say,
Yeah.
didn't they say you'd be able
Yeah.
to make a
If
new
you have
mule?
from what their post was, if you have an
Mhm.
active character on Ashura, you're supposed to be allowed to make more characters on Ashura.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he was not on the same accounts and he was
Yeah.
just confused.
Possibly.
Quickly, for anyone who's listening and has not been tuned in, they did Vanabout,
Mhm.
and during Vanabout, this time, they made things a little bit more easy, but the objectives were much more ambuscade related, and one of them in
Mm.
particular was take 75,000 damage cumulatively over.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
And what ended up happening, since Ashura has like a lot more population, um, people would go into the zone and just sit there for 20, 30 minutes taking damage to get that
Taking
objective
damage.
done.
Yeah.
And then I think it was the fourth day, every daily objective was ambuscade, every
Yeah.
single one.
Mhm.
So when you logged in and went to do ambuscade on Ashura, there was a 60 or 70 page queue, which took over 1 hour to get into.
Yeah.
And then very shortly after that, Square Enix announced that they're shutting down Ashura for creating new characters and transferring to
S-
Ashura.
So Myth started to say that he said, "Is this a marketing thing more than anything else?" And that's what makes me see the whole thing is suspect to me
Mhm.
because like the issue is Vanabout was all ambuscade leaning. You have an objective that forces or requires or prefers people to just sit in the zone AFK.
Yeah.
And then you also at the same time have historically what is probably one of the easiest ambuscades to do. And so like those are all very short-term problems that are now ending now that Ashura has been locked down.
Mhm.
So like the logic of this being the reason why they're shutting down character creation is that makes absolutely no sense to me.
I think it's just a case of like they did this thing and it's easy to point at this thing as the impetus for why they're doing it, but they probably
Mhm.
had this in their pocket for a long time based on a
Mhm.
lot of varying issues.
Yeah.
But the knee jerk, like, look at the thing they made us do, and now they're telling us we can't do
Yeah.
the thing. You're like, you told us to do this and it ruined it. This is very reminiscent of when they released Shinryu on Ashura
Mhm.
Mhm.
specifically, and they addressed it similarly in a little post on Play Online. Um, because of Ashura, there was like I want to say 100 people in that zone waiting to get into Shinryu, and it
Mhm.
took
Oh, in
over
that
an
tiny
hour.
little
Yeah.
tiny
Yes,
little spot.
it took
That's
over an
crazy.
hour of mashing on the thing, and then you got the option to select
Yeah.
which difficulty. You'd
Mhm.
scroll down the
Well,
DB,
yeah.
click enter, and then you'd get kicked out of the cutscene because someone else beat
The
you.
same thing was happening on Shiva even for Shinryu, except there weren't 100 people, but it was still that difficult to get in. I remember that.
But,
Yeah.
like, their knee-jerk reaction wasn't like, "Let's let it wait out," or "Let's not
Yeah.
make such a bad, queue system," or "Let's not make such a low instance zone, like this massive new content."
Yeah.
They release new content, and then they're like, shit, 30 merits," and, they just knee-jerk, like, change the whole thing and make
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and then the very next week after they change it, no one's in the zone at all ever.
Yeah, they found out the drop rates and they were like, we're done with this.
Oh, okay. We don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Well, imagine waiting and trying that hard to get into Shinryu for nothing. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. The Shura lockdown is interesting to me. I think that it's probably very largely RMT motivated. And maybe partially population oriented, but it's also it's like you said earlier, it's really good marketing when you have a surge in interest in your game that's 23 years old. You're doing a collaborative thing with Final Fantasy 14 that's got 11 base stuff. Conveniently, the few weeks before the patch that introduces the next Final Fantasy 11 raid, which comes out on Tuesday, by the way.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're just bustling with people. There's too
Our
many people
biggest
playing
server
our
has to serve
game.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
it does feel a little bit fabricated.
Dude, Vice wrote an article about it. You can't convince me that it at least is not partially
Yeah,
helping play.
yeah,
I mean,
Like,
if that truly is, it's not just like if it's actually intended and
mhm.
this is all fabricated, then, kudos to them. I hope that's true.
I think it's a fucking great idea, honestly.
Yeah, like, if that's really what it is and this is all, like, a front and they intentionally funneled every player into this tiny shit thing to intentionally
yeah,
be like, "Look, the servers have an issue. Okay, shut it down."
yeah,
Yeah, they're
I've
riding the
also heard
wave right now.
the aspect of it where, like, this allows them to tackle the RMT in a very direct
yeah,
way, where, like, maybe next month or the month after, they will do a very large ban wave, maybe bigger than ever before, and these players, air quotes, these RMT cannot create new characters in the server anymore.
But okay,
mhm,
so the reason I have issue with that, there's two things. One is they're eventually going to have to open the server back up. And there's always going to be a need for a server that is kind of the cesspool. And I mean, it's kind of what Azura is and what it's known for, right? Like nobody comes here and expects it to be like filled with
yeah,
nice non-mentally ill people that
mhm,
are trying to like be like have a good community. Are there people that have good communities on Azura? Absolutely. I actually really like the server and I wouldn't transfer off because of the people that I've met here. But there's going to be a need in any game, and Azura kind of keeps that stuff mostly contained.
There's
So
definitely a stigma
yeah, yeah. So I don't know.
for a reason.
Yeah. So what's the point in doing that to Azura when that's either going to force them to go to another server, or in a month or two when they take this thing off, they're just all going to come
If
flooding back.
they take
mhm.
this off.
Yeah.
That how could they not though? How can they
I'd
I
be
not?
cool
want
I'd be cool
yeah.
if they leave it on. Leave it on.
Honestly, I think that well, two things to react to. Natalie says, "Good luck getting 30K Alexandrite on another server." I think that's a myth. I have no problem getting Alexandrite on Shiva ever. It's just not on the auction house. You don't go to the auction house or you don't go to a bazaar to get it. You send the request to your link shell and you're like, "Hey, can I buy your ambuscade Alexandrite?" And people that would otherwise just let it go to waste because nobody is willing to buy it will be like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll grab mine. You can buy it." And it's really easy to get Alexandrite on Ashura.
Yeah.
Two. I think that uh it is the other thing, the RMT related thing that I can see with the Ashura shutdown, if it is RMT related, is because of the 14 stuff.
Mhm.
If they have analytics showing that when they released the last raid, there was a lot of people that had renewed interest in 11 and started new subscriptions or took part in the campaign. It's an optics thing.
Sure.
If they can shut down RMT, because if you're a new player and you're immediately getting bombarded with buy gil, buy content, that those people are leaving. And so if they can curtail that as a new raid is coming out and reduce the amount of RMT activity, that's a really strong optics thing for them to do.
It is, but haven't they effectively already accomplished that by not allowing new players to come to Azura? Why would they then cut the revenue that they have coming in from those RMT?
I mean, I think that because the RMT issue is a larger thing. It's not
Okay.
like there's definitely a calculation. Same thing with multi-boxers and everything else.
Mhm.
They're aware of it. They know that it happens, and
Right.
I'm sure there's a part of them that's like, well, do we allow this to run rampant and just collect the monthly subscriptions, or is there, and if you want to get into crazy tinfoil hat stuff, like if Square Enix bans a certain percentage of RMT, they know those RMT will then repurchase the game to make a new account
Yeah.
to continue to operate. So it's actually
I've heard
cost beneficial for them to maintain a healthy level of RMT
Just
activity.
I've heard
yeah.
people theorize
Yeah.
that they get paid directly from RMT in order to maintain activity. Like,
I think that's
people
I
go
think that's
really deep
crazy.
into the rabbit hole with this
That
shit. I
that's
don't think
that's a
that
Yeah.
little
either.
bit too insane for me.
So
They
I would
make
say
more just selling Gil on an online shop. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I would say, I think a large part of this is that
There's no mafia protection money being paid by the RMT operations. Like,
the RMT mafia. I would
yeah,
say a large portion of this is that Square Enix is simply more concerned about reputation and perception than they
yeah,
are about income. Um,
especially on a
if they
game like 11.
Yeah, if
Mhm.
they wanted income, then they would do all the things that I was saying earlier to market to the
Yeah,
players that already are here and get more money out of them. Um, they're clearly not concerned about income first and foremost.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a numbered Final Fantasy game. Okay, that's where the first and major concern is,
Maxim just
understandably.
said sell name changes. That's a
Sell
fantastic
name
idea.
changes.
Please
Yeah.
implement it. Like,
I think one thing that 11 should do on the name change front that like I've seen other games do is do a purge. There's so many names that are locked up that were,
Oh, yeah.
cans that are inactive for
Mhm.
15 years, or they're names that were, banned or whatever else. They should totally do a purge of the
I feel
the
like 11
database.
might be the exception to that though, because how often do you see people coming back and they're like, "Oh yes, after 20
I
years, I
still have
finally
my
have
card.
access to my old character."
Yeah,
People would
true.
be heartbroken over that kind of stuff. Maybe like make them rename the characters, but it would be hard
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't delete the
Oh yeah,
character,
yeah.
but
They don't
make
you
them
don't delete
rename.
them,
Delete
but
the
that
name.
that's
Yeah.
what like World of Warcraft does that frequently, where you
Mhm.
get merged into another server. Or, they purge database stuff, and like you log in and you have your name is like, the first three letters of your original name and then a random string of numbers.
Yeah.
And when you log in, it's like you must select a new name.
Mhm.
I think that's a great thing to make money, sell a name change.
But
I've
more
already said sell
importantly
cosmetic changes.
than Square Enix making money, how are we gonna start making money, guys? Because I gotta I gotta tell you, I'm not getting paid enough to do these
Yeah.
4-hour long
Listen,
podcasts
we'll
right
take
now.
Yeah.
sponsors, I'll do ad reads,
We'll do ad
Yeah,
anybody.
reads.
if
Okay.
Direct
if
us.
somebody can get
Yeah.
ad reads going, I would love
Mhm.
to talk about a mattress brand or like a
Let us
supplement
shill some
Right.
or
weightlifting equipment or some
yeah.
Yeah.
like,
Okay. Okay.
protein powder or whatever I need to do.
Yeah. So
I will shill. I will
if
sell out.
if anybody's listening to this right now and you have any way for us to sell out, we're interested. Just let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have a big market? No, but that's not the point.
Also, well, we're shamelessly
Mhm,
shilling to our audience.
mhm,
And while you guys are here, and while I have the podcast audience captive,
mm,
I
mhm,
am
mhm.
at 4 followers away from 1,000.
Oh,
And if
wow.
you could
What a
just hit that
big
little follow
And
button.
cocktail.
not
If
only
you've enjoyed my hot takes
mhm.
for the past 4 hours of this podcast, then please support Hegmo. Give me a follow.
Yeah, so, yeah, not only that, but, hey, there's gonna be a big subathon coming when
Yeah,
Hagamo
when I
hits
hit 1,000,
1,000.
we've got a special event.
Yeah,
Special event coming up
mhm,
at 1,000.
yes, and
We're playing a Japanese MMO, boys, and
mhm.
when you play a Japanese MMO where their main servers are located in Japan, sometimes you just
Oh
need
my
a
god.
VPN service, and What better VPN service
Willing
than
to follow.
Jesus. Yeah. Somebody in my Discord the other day said that I should start doing merch like Hegmo does. But they suggested the mouse pads
Did
with
they
the
say? Wait,
with
did they say you should start doing merch, or did they say you should start doing merch like Hegmo does?
no. They said I should start doing merch. But they wanted to
Okay.
do the mouse pads with the Gubu and the butt on as the
Oh
like
hell yeah,
soft
that'd be
part.
awesome.
Yeah. So
Somebody had
maybe
recommended the same thing to me, doing a custom mouse pad
hmm.
where my mustache is the hand rest part.
Oh, there we go.
well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
see, the Gubu mouse pad, it would just be a flat mouse pad because they have flat asses.
Oh,
There
they
would be no
do.
puff.
Well, not Myth's
Shut
Gubu.
the fuck
Myth's
up right
Gubu
now.
is snap.
I will lose it. Don't ever talk about my Gubu butts like that.
Yeah, it goes straight down. There's no
All right,
curvature.
we're done with this. Okay, it
Cellulite.
has
And
been
podcast over.
yeah,
Bye.
yeah,
And then Dex will not be appearing on the next episode of the
yeah,
podcast.
fucking for real. All right, so email us at blurredxi@gmail.com. Check out Hegmo at Hegmo TV on YouTube and Twitch. Hopefully next week. My class is winding down, so either next week or the week after, I'm going to start streaming more regularly again. I would love to get back into that.
Do we want to
And
tease the next topic?
no, we'll make them wait.
Ooh, yeah, wait for it.
Next week,
Well,
I
I
think
thought
will
it would
be.
kind of curve emails, but okay.
Oh no, I mean I love the emails. I want them to keep coming.
We can address the emails on the comment.
Yeah, next week we're going to
Just
be
know.
discussing Aeonic weapons. We're going to go through every single Aeonic weapon like we did with the primes.
Tier list.
It's going to be great. It's going to be
So
more
start working on your beads right now,
Yeah.
okay?
Send us your emails on what Aeonic you should make, and I'll read off why you're wrong.
Yeah. And if you send us like 3 Empyrean weapons, I will explain to Dex and Hegmo and Shiraj why they're wrong and
Yeah.
my option is correct. But thanks
Okay.
everybody, and that's it. Bye.